Okay, so I'm willing to do more Zatsu, but I also really want to get started with this lost media content. So I'm thinking you guys could help me pick one to start off with. I have one channel that has relatively short videos, and by relatively short I mean all of them are under 30 minutes or so, under 20 minutes. And then I have this one big ass compilation that's like 1 hour and 30 minutes long. But it's like segmented into bits, so it's a lot to deal with. So yeah, I'm gonna share my screen and you guys can maybe hopefully help me figure out which one would be a good one to start with. And I'm gonna zoom in so you don't see the shit that I watch on my YouTube, because I don't want you seeing any of that. There we go. Thank you for the hydrate. Thank you. I better not be seeing any of those spicy ASMRs. Nah, I always click not interested whenever I see those. Okay, so this channel is called L Supersonic Q. And looks like he posts quite a bit of lost media footage. He describes himself as a lost media hunter. Let's see. So, well, the most popular video on his channel is called the infamous Webkinz killer rumor. Looks pretty spooky. The infamous Pokemon toy recall. These are all pretty digestible, I'd say. Oh my goodness. Darkest SpongeBob lost media? Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Don't worry, this was all vetted, mods. This was all vetted. I don't know if I want to do that. Okay. The most racist Pokemon gift ever. Nintendo World's fake mystery gift. That's something I've noticed with all these found footage channels, is that a lot of them are like, they were banned because they were found out to like be racist or something like that. Like that seems to be the general trend. So maybe it's not really lost media, it's just like these are racist things that happened and everybody like forgot about them or whatever. Let's see. Infamous Disney Channel hijacking incident. Okay, I think I might do that one. I'm gonna do that one. Oh, ooh, okay. Let me make sure that my screen is... There we go. I gotta make sure everything is zoomed out, because I don't want you guys to see what's on my search history. Dottie, how you doing even? Okay, this one's called the infamous Disney Channel hijacking incident. Let me know if you can hear it.
Tell me if this has ever happened to you before. You are sitting down watching TV and are watching the show that is expected to be airing, when suddenly the content stops and changes to something completely unexpected. Either a mysterious message, an audio recording, or something that appears to be flat out strange.
Oh, we're getting into the nitty-gritty of it.
You've never experienced this phenomenon in real time before.
Oh.
But there's a good chance you've at least heard about it happening before. When the broadcast signals of TV or cable stations are tapped into by another party without permission, this is called a broadcast signal intrusion or a signal hijacking.
Wait, before I forget, there is this one thing that I'm just remembering now. When I was younger, I was very impressionable. And one time, somebody in my house was using the bathroom for too long. And my mom was like, "Why were you using the bathroom for so long?" They were like, "Oh, there was a lobster in the toilet." And I believed it. Like, I don't know what they were doing in there. That was definitely an excuse or something. But he was like, "There was a lobster in the toilet." And I was like trying to get it down or whatever. And I was just like, so I spent the rest of that year believing that lobsters and all sorts of freshwater animals can pop out from the toilet like sewage system. And so I got really, really scared. And I would always I'd be scared of using the restroom because I did the surprise toilet entry. So not quite the same thing, but I heard the word hijack and I was like, well, I remember this incident in my youth when lobsters would hijack my toilet. Anyway.
And throughout the history of television, there have been many documented cases of parties interrupting broadcast signals to display cryptic messages or simply to mess with the viewing audience. One of the most famous instances of this occurring are the Max Headroom hijackings from November 1987,
Thank you so much.
where an unidentified man wearing a mask of the character Max Headroom made a few remarks before participating in a suggestive scene with a woman wearing a maid costume.
Oh, wait, is that a fly swatter? Are they smacking him with a fly swatter? Oh, wait, that's his booty. Oh my goodness. That's his booty. Thank you so much, Valiant. Thank you so much. If you guys just got a gift sub from Valiant, I hope you enjoy the new emotes. There are lots. Thank you so much. That's his bare booty. Oh my goodness.
Festive scene with a woman wearing a maid costume. This happened twice in the same night on 2 TV stations in Chicago, Illinois. And to this day, no one involved with the incident has been identified. There was another, less offensive occurrence a year prior, when someone named Captain Midnight interrupted HBO's satellite signal feed with a message to show his frustration with HBO's service rates.
Oh, wait, that's kind of
hurting
based,
his
though.
business of selling satellite dishes.
That's based. Wait, so you know how Twitch is kind of doing that right now? Even though nobody asked for it? Imagine if, like, everybody just rioted. $12.95 a month. Also, like, back then, $12.95 back then. That's gonna be like, what, $30 a month today? That's insane. For a subscription like that, back then, that's like $40 today. Oh my goodness. I guess when you have a monopoly and some market power, then like you can charge whatever you want, but that's, oh my goodness. That's pretty based.
This time, however, the person behind it was caught after another man heard him bragging about the incident. Needless to say, the intentions and content range quite a bit when it comes to broadcast intrusions. But there was one time when it happened that has become quite infamous over the years for how inappropriate the content that was shown really was, and also has not been recovered, making it a piece of lost media too. The story begins on a channel that you might think would be the last place for a signal hijacking to occur, and that's Disney Channel. And compared to the previous examples of news stations and subscription services being targeted, the amount of people watching Disney Channel who would be privy to these acts is far fewer. And interrupting cartoons or sitcoms for kids doesn't really seem like it's worth the effort.
But it can be traumatizing.
But perhaps it's in this fact that would make it the perfect place to cause some havoc. And show something that its viewers purposely wouldn't understand, but that would cause anger with their parents. Especially since we're not just talking about Disney Channel, but more specifically...
Wait, what's that? What is this? What is that? What the fuck is that? These are kid shows for kids who are older than you. What is that?
Purposely wouldn't understand, but that would cause anger with their parents, especially since we're not just talking about Disney Channel, but more specifically, the Playhouse Disney block. This is a programming block with content that's made for younger kids, and is often the kind of thing a parent would leave on for their kid to watch, knowing it's safe and intended for them. But when broadcast intrusions are involved, that's not necessarily the case, and it's exactly what happened one morning that caused a whole storm of controversy for the channel.
Oh no.
If you happen to be watching Playhouse Disney, on the morning of May 2nd, 2007, the show that was intended to air uninterrupted
Oh, no.
was Handy Manny. It's a CGI cartoon about a handyman and his
Don't you
talking
fuck
tools
with Handy Manny.
that own a repair shop and go around town helping people fix their broken
No.
stuff. The series had only premiered a year prior, so the show was relatively new and still in its
Oh
prime.
no.
But viewers of the show would be seeing something unexpected.
Oh no.
At around 9:30 a.m., during
They're
the
messing
beginning
with
of Handy
Handy
Manny,
Manny.
the feed was suddenly interrupted, and in its place was a hardcore adult film.
No.
While there are no reports on how long the interruption lasted, the claims range from less than a minute to several minutes. It just showed up with no warning. And as mentioned previously,
He showed her his Handy Manny. I know it was low-hanging fruit, but none of you were making the joke, and I was way too proud of you. I had to put myself down for the cause. You don't understand.
spread around news outlets almost immediately. It was confirmed through these reports that the hijacking was isolated to the Middletown, New Jersey area,
Oh, of
more
course
specifically
it was in Jersey.
Lincroft, so it wasn't a nationwide incident. Though one parent from the area named Paul was very
I
vocal
knew it
about
was
what
gonna
was
be in
shown.
Jersey.
It was two people doing their thing. It was full on and it was disgusting. I tried to protect my kids from a lot of things, but I wouldn't have thought Disney would become one of them. My son was extremely upset because he thought he'd done something.
It was disgusting, and it was full on. I don't know why that was so funny to me. I shouldn't be laughing. This is not good. This is absolutely not right. We should not. No.
Wrong.
Anyway.
And we're hoping what he saw doesn't become an issue for him. After the damage had already been done, the question became for parents like Paul and Disney, how did this happen? Despite what Paul mentioned in his interview, that he can't believe Disney is something they have to protect their son from, Disney was not the company to blame for this.
Oh no.
Comcast admitted that they were responsible for the error. It happened at one of their
It
local
was
facilities and was
Comcast's
described
fault.
as an isolated issue by spokesperson Fred DeAndrea. He didn't provide any details on how long the hijacking lasted.
Hey, wait, hold on a second. Don't pin the blame on the turtle. Don't pin the blame on the turtle. The turtle's just trying to... Okay, wait. You get at my case for low-hanging fruit, and you go out here calling Comcast Cumcast. You really are my chat. I love you guys.
Or how many homes may have seen it, but it must have been a lot for so many news articles to have picked up the story. Disney and the State Board of Public Utilities did end up reaching out to Comcast
Also, Peculiar Donut is a girl, so you cannot time her out because we need to preserve our girl demographic on here, okay?
afterwards and asked them to take appropriate measures to make sure such an
will
occurrence
behave.
doesn't happen again. This was reconfirmed in a statement from Disney stating, Comcast has taken full responsibility for this situation, and we understand that they are currently working to determine the root cause of the incident. Comcast ended up reaching out to Paul personally and apologizing, following an investigation into the cause of this. But unfortunately, they never reported their findings publicly, so it's not known if anyone was caught or got in trouble for it.
That's scary.
Over the years, there's been quite a bit of debate online surrounding how this happened or who could have done it, with some theories pointing towards the likelihood that signals had accidentally been switched or it ended up airing on TV by accident.
I mean, okay, wait. I don't know if I should be asking this on my stream, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Is that how it worked? I remember, I was watching Heathers, and they were making a joke about how, oh, you can come by my house. I have corn on cable. Is that really how it worked? You would subscribe to a cable thingy that had it, and you would just go on the corn channel? Is that how that worked? Oh my god. Because I also remember watching a movie from that era. I don't remember what movie it was. But it was like, not a corn movie, but it was like, they like made an alluding reference to it. They were like, oh, going back to your hotel room to check out the I forgot what they called it, but there was a channel or like a service that you could subscribe to. That is very fascinating to me. It's a bit before my time. It's like, I don't know, like would you go to what was it called again? A Blockbuster, and would you like buy like cassettes or some shit of it or whatever? I don't know. You guys are gonna have to walk me through the process. I don't know what you guys do. I'd imagine. Oh, yeah. I was wondering if they would, but it's very fascinating. Archaic methods of acquiring corn. Blockbuster.
But these
You gotta
instances
watch
seem
yourself.
fairly unlikely. Believe it or not, hijacking broadcast signals to show adult content has been a pretty frequent occurrence over the years. Several years later, in 2012,
No!
Disney was targeted again
Not Lilo.
when 6 minutes of a hardcore adult movie
No.
were shown during
No.
Lilo and Stitch
No,
on Disney
no,
Jr., the successor to
no.
Playhouse Disney. Earlier than that, in March 2010, Time Warner Cable's transmissions of kids and preschool kids content was
No.
replaced with Playboy TV for 2 hours.
No.
But perhaps the most relevant example related to the Handy Manny incident happened only 2 years after
Oh, the
in a
Super
very similar
Bowl.
way. This story also made headlines back in 2009 because it happened during one of the most viewed television events here in the US.
Whoa, that's
the
actually kind
Super
of
Bowl.
insane, though. That's some insane hacking skills, because, like, I'd imagine everybody would be all hands on deck when it comes to the Super Bowl. Like, they're going to be doing everything to make sure that their signals are on the money, you know? But I suppose, with what little knowledge I have about the Super Bowl, that it is a bit of a not safe for work endeavor in and of itself, because one of the teams usually gets fucked over by the other team. So it's a bit primal. It's a bit feral, to say the least. Watching it, anyway. I don't know anything about
At
it.
another
I just watch the
Comcast
halftime
facility
shows.
in Tucson, Arizona, NBC's signal was replaced
I've read some really strange fan fiction back in the day.
with
I don't really know
37
what American
seconds
football
of
is.
another.
I've heard it described as like a bunch of like sweaty men going after each other. Yeah.
Adult movie and interrupted the game during the fourth quarter. In this instance, Comcast did claim it was an isolated, malicious act, and 3 days later, a former Cox Cable employee was arrested and pleaded guilty to 2 counts of
Cox.
computer tampering.
Cogs.
And in the case of the Handy Manny interruption, it also seems very likely that this would be the result of a malicious act. Though since the issue has long since been concluded, it's likely that we'll never get an official statement on the results of the investigation. As for the broadcast hijacking itself, the recording of the incident is still lost, but you can find some discussion about it online.
Oh,
There was
God.
a thread created on Reddit from March 2022 who was attempting to find someone with a copy. And there's another thread from a
Reddit, PU, stinky. Oh my God. Thank you for the 20 months, Oliver. Thank you. I recently joined a server with fellow VA friends, and everybody there was like, oh my God, it's the girl from Reddit. And I swear I never felt so seen and so offended in my entire life. The fact that they instantly recognized me as the girl from Reddit means that I am doing something very, very wrong. Very, very wrong.
a day after it happened that discusses the incident as a whole on the Unexplained Mysteries forums. The author, who lives in New Jersey, asks if any of his fellow New Jersey dwellers had been watching Disney Channel at the time of the broadcast, but no one in the thread claims to have seen it. For the sake of preservation and broadcast
Internet
hijack
forums.
history,
What a
I suppose
time.
it's something that has value to some people. But overall, it's nothing nearly as original as Max Headroom or Captain Midnight.
Okay.
I'm not sure how anyone would go about finding it nowadays, but it must have been seen by a lot of viewers to have been reported on so much.
Yeah.
But even if a copy of it does resurface, the reason or person behind the incident will remain a mystery
Sometimes
and live in the
people just
ranks
be
of
trolling.
unsolved television hijackings.
Some people just be trolling. That's it. I like that. Nice, concise, straight to the point, offered examples. What else can you ask for? Is the other channel Defunct Land? I feel like there was a longer video about this. The other channel that I found is called Shy Valley. We can look up Defunct Land. Let me look it up. Oh, oopsie. Oopsie. Y'all can see. Did that say Russian waltz music? Oopsie. That said Russian waltz music. Dun, 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 dun. That's not Russian waltz music, but it's similar. Defunct Land, a YouTube series discussing the history of extinct theme park and themed experiences. Okay. I want to watch one of these soon. These are pretty long, huh? Okay, I'll watch a few more from El Supersonic Q before I go on to Defunct Land. It looks pretty interesting. Alrighty. So we did this. What are we thinking? I guess Webkinz is the most popular one. There's some other ones here. Nickelodeon cartoon that caused a family divorce. Spicy adult lost media. Oh, brother. This is gonna ruin my search history, isn't it? Very rare SpongeBob lost media. Oh, brother. I feel like the creators of SpongeBob don't even know like every single piece of SpongeBob content that's been created. I feel like a lot of things flew under their supervision, and that's why there's so much SpongeBob content that's like, oh, this was lost. There's just so much to SpongeBob. It's scary. It's really scary. I think I'm gonna do Webkinz first, and then I'm gonna do another one after that.
If you were a kid growing up in the mid-2000s with an internet connection, then chances are you had a Webkinz pet and played online in the virtual Webkinz world. Webkinz are a series of plush toys that were first released by Gans in 2005 and became insanely popular in the years following. Each toy came with a secret code that could be used online to access the Webkinz world. This online world brought your pet to life and allowed you access to a plethora of different areas, including your own house.
I never played Webkinz. I feel like everybody back in that day and age had their own version of Webkinz that they were hyper-fixated on. Mine was Pet Society on Facebook. And I also liked Moshi Monsters, Pop Tropica. What else did I like? In this general genre, there was this one game on Miniclip that I liked. It was called Kindergarten, and basically you just like run around running a kindergarten, making sure that everybody's like fed and no babies are crying. It was really fucking difficult. Hated that game, but I kept playing it because it was so addicting. Kids stress me out. Anyway.
An arcade, and shops, in addition to a large community of fellow Webkinz owners. You could even chat with people in the clubhouse and send letters to people on your friends list.
Whoa!
It was a really big deal, and I even got in on the craze. It was really fun, and I remember spending countless hours furnishing my house and trying to collect enough Kinz cash to complete furniture series from the shop.
Microtransactions!
But aside from having memories of all the fun features that Webkinz had to offer its players, there was also the memories of playground rumors that popped up and got passed around about the game. I remember a lot of minor rumors from back in the day that involved losing all of your Kinz cash or having your pet get sick, but there was nothing that could compare to the lore surrounding what's known as the Webkinz killer.
Oh no!
It all started during the beginning rise of the Webkinz craze in early 2007, when various claims popped up about killers inside the virtual Webkinz world that could harm your pet, usually resulting in their death.
No!
The term Webkinz killer doesn't necessarily refer to one character or instance in particular, but rather a term that was used to describe any instance of death, as there were many different stories told in ways it could allegedly happen.
What would that even mean?
My first run-in with the Webkinz killer was in the 5th grade, when a friend of mine had told me about the now legendary black box rumor. Apparently the black box was an item that would randomly spawn in one of your rooms as you enter. You were supposed to leave the room as quickly as you could, or else the stray pet who was hiding inside of the box would jump out and stab your Webkinz. Believe it or not, I actually had a run-in with this black box back in the day. After placing the home version of Skunk Sweeper in one of my rooms, a visual glitch caused the game to appear as a black box, rather than a flat object on the floor. I was able to leave the room, and upon re-entering, the glitch was fixed, though needless to say I never played Skunk Sweeper again, and sold that copy back to the shop. Another story I heard quite often was Dr. Quack and his alleged psychotic behavior.
Oh my god.
As the name implies, Dr. Quack is the medic of Webkinz world, so naturally his role was to give your pet a checkup and make sure they stayed healthy. This role led to many rumors about how you could make him so mad that he'd attack your pet.
No!
This ranges from clicking the poster in his office 32 times, to visiting him at midnight, or even having him make a house call.
No!
The most convincing Dr. Quack story probably involves your pet's actual health, as in the game they have meters that represent this. If you neglect your pet for a while, they actually can get sick. This concept led to rumors about Dr. Quack giving your pet a pill which was actually poison, once again resulting in their on-screen death.
God.
In fact, most of the main characters in Webkinz had rumors made up about them, including Miss Birdie, who was rumored to send out black letters, and random stray pets who would hide in your rooms.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I have a bit of an intrusive thought throughout this. First of all, very tragic that this may or may not have happened, but at the same time, like, I feel like this game was so many furries' origin story. Like, I feel like a lot of furries played this when they were younger, and, like, this is the reason they're as into what they are into now. Can any furries in the chat confirm? This is a safe space for furries!
And wait to strike. If you go through the very deep and archaic Webkinz rumor lore, you'll find most of these killer stories to be pretty similar to—
No. Okay, here's the thing. Space Jam is too mainstream. Because furries are, I don't know, they still have a sense of nicheness to them. But everybody's like, oh, Lola Bunny, blah, 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 blah. Like, I feel like that's, like, somehow, like, just in the current cultural meta now. I don't know. Star Fox, Sonic, Bubsy Bobcat, okay. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know all that much about Sonic, to be honest. I probably should play at least one Sonic game in my life. But I haven't. Space Jam sparked it, but Webkinz kindled the flame to where it was.
To each other and
God.
Pretty baseless. Of course, hearing about any kind of misfortune like this as a kid is scary enough, but the concept of a Webkinz killer roaming the virtual world back in 2007 actually has some reason to be believed. The commotion these rumors caused was not isolated to little kids playing with their pets online, but it found its way into the real world as well.
Oh no!
There are some sites still accessible from back during this period that discuss the Webkinz killer rumor and share some concerns the parents had about hearing such stories from their kids. One email reads, "My kids came home from school yesterday telling me they heard of a computer virus issue associated with their Webkinz. The virus comes on the screen as a penguin with red eyes and ruins your PC."
I don't know.
This email brings up a really
I feel like an older brother might have started this. Like, this older brother probably got really, really annoyed at their younger sibling playing RuneScape. The older brother really wanted to play RuneScape on the PC. And so they told their little kid sibling that, like, there was a virus that was going around where their Webkinz could die and they could be killed by the doctor, just so that the little kid would be scared off playing Webkinz so he could play RuneScape. That makes perfect sense. I feel like an older brother did that. It was absolutely an older brother. I don't know.
Interesting point,
That's
because
my
it
theory.
mentions the idea of a virus that ruins your PC.
As strange as it sounds, one of the biggest reasons why the Webkinz killer rumors flourished so well was because of how happy and harmless the site seemed. The irony of this is that it was believed Webkinz was merely a front for something much more malicious.
What the fuck is that?
A few months later into the Webkinz killer lore, I began hearing firsthand about new rumors regarding Neopets infiltrating Webkinz in order to conduct these killings.
Oh my goodness. So it was just a bunch of, like, company sabotage. They wanted those microtransactions bucks, and they decided to infiltrate their competitor's game.
Someone had even gone as far to tell me the actual Neopets site had a feature where you could type in the name of a Webkinz pet, and within 10 days it would be killed off.
What the
fuck? And in regards to hearing something like a virus, I remember some talk back in the day about rogue or disgruntled employees who still had access to Webkinz World and could program in all these scary features.
No!
Of course, neither of these scenarios are true, and there are no reports of any such incident actually happening, but it seems like the competition within the virtual pet space and the happy-go-lucky reputation Webkinz had were two bases for these scary rumors to arise from. Eventually, the rumors got so rampant that Webkinz themselves issued statements on their site, essentially reminding consumers that they would never allow anything to hurt your Webkinz pets. Of course, though, as time went on...
I'm not sure how much this channel is actually, like, lost media. I mean, like, it's kind of lost media, but at the same time, I feel like a lot of them are, like, historical... It's more like a historical internet folktale kind of dealy.
Stopped playing Webkinz altogether,
so I do enjoy
and the brand
content,
as a whole kind of fell into obscurity,
I don't know if it's lost
on account of it being a trend
Some
at
of the
its core.
content is, but not
I think Webkinz is still making new pets today, and I
I
know their
don't
site is still up as I used my account for this video, but there definitely aren't any new rumors popping up about the game, especially ones as intense as the killer. It's pretty interesting revisiting something like this and figuring out why it was such a big deal at the time, but at least now we know that no such thing as the Webkinz killer ever really existed.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't know that, though. Because when I was younger, I fully believed that Herobrine was, like, still kicking around somewhere in my Pokemon game. In my Minecraft game, I believe that Herobrine existed. I never thought that it was fake. I always thought it was a thing. I don't know. Anyway, I think I'm gonna move on to Defunct Land now. These are a little bit longer as it seems, but people keep saying that it's a banger, and they got the views to back it up, so let's see. Disney's Fast Pass, A Complicated History. Oh shit, that's a frickin' 1 hour 43 minute long video essay. Defunct Land, The History of the Nickelodeon Hotel. Okay. The History of Action Park. Disney Channel's theme, a history mystery. Interesting. The Failure of Chuck E. Cheese. It's lost enough. It's like found footage, kind of. I'll find another. I do have one video over here that's literally just labeled 100 strange cases of lost media, so that'll scratch the itch. It'll scratch the itch. It's good. It'll work. I'm gonna do this one. History of the Nickelodeon Hotel. Looks interesting.
In 1990.
Oop.
1999, the children's network Nickelodeon was changed forever with the premiere of a new cartoon series named SpongeBob SquarePants. Nickelodeon had developed many popular TV shows in its 20-year existence, but it had never had a hit like SpongeBob. The show debuted to high ratings,
I love
with an audience
SpongeBob.
comparable to Nickelodeon's biggest series at the time, Rugrats. But SpongeBob found massive success in an area that other Nickelodeon shows
I
hadn't:
love SpongeBob.
merchandising. The company had purposefully shied away from extending the brand too far from the network itself. While Nickelodeon had turned some of its properties into toys, feature films, and video games, they feared that too much merchandising would contradict the brand's goal of appealing to young audiences. Nickelodeon was supposed to appear as a network run by kids, for kids, and the executives believed that children could tell when they were being advertised to, thus interfering with the channel's primary objective.
I don't think that's true. When I saw things advertised to me, I instantly thought, Mom, I want the Barbie Dream House. Mom, I want the Polly Pocket Giga Plex 9000 car. Or maybe I was just very impressionable, I don't know, but I got fucking hyped as shit whenever I saw those toy commercials. I didn't see that I was being advertised to. It wasn't my money. My money wasn't on the line. My parents' money was on the line. So whenever I saw those toy commercials, I was like, well, I can just go to the infinite credit card that is my parents, and I'll get all the things I ever want, ever, for real, for real.
On top of this, a general distaste for the Walt Disney Company and its practices had solidified Nickelodeon's motivation to limit size and avoid feeling corporate. All of this was thrown out the window after SpongeBob premiered. The potential profit from merchandising the show's characters and setting was too large to ignore, and the title character would turn into Nickelodeon's unofficial mascot, its own Mickey Mouse, within just a few years. It appeared as though Nickelodeon was cashing in, but they were still concerned with expanding outside of their comfort zone and tarnishing their brand. In lieu of building its own
I don't know how you guys feel about that. Sorry I keep pausing, but like, do you think that the figurehead of Nickelodeon, their Mickey Mouse, is SpongeBob? I suppose so. I'm not sure. I feel like I can think of some other people that could be contenders. But none that would probably resonate with you guys. I feel like SpongeBob is just too universal. I mean, they got SpongeBob to narrate the Super Bowl, so. I was gonna be a smartass and name a few, but then I realized that they were all Disney characters. Jimmy Neutron? I don't know. Like, I'll see Jimmy Neutron memes, but I don't think Jimmy Neutron had as much of an impact as SpongeBob did. For me, there was always three big ones that I always watched and switched between. There was Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney. I feel like those are the big three. It has to be SpongeBob. When I was younger, I used to have like a SpongeBob water bottle. It was literally just SpongeBob sitting on a rock, square shaped. Like, it was literally just SpongeBob as a water bottle. Not like a water bottle with SpongeBob on it. It was SpongeBob, and you could drink water out of SpongeBob. And I remember that I could like take it with me in like a little backpack, because it was like strapped to like a little backpack. It was a huge ass water bottle, and I just walk around with my SpongeBob water bottle backpack, and I was so proud. I was in love. And then I stopped using it one time because I loaded it up with fruit punch, and I accidentally like poked some holes underneath my SpongeBob, and it just like looked like it was pissing out like punch. And I got so sad, and I haven't been able to use it since. I miss it. I'm sorry. Strange tangent, but yeah, I miss that SpongeBob water bottle backpack every single day of my life. I feel like Nickelodeon's mascot, Cartoon Network's mascot would probably be, I don't know, Finn from Adventure Time, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't really know. Johnny Bravo? Maybe Finn from Adventure Time. That's all I can really think about. Dexter? I don't know.
stores like Disney, a type of project that was deemed too risky. Nickelodeon instead licensed its properties to anyone that wanted them. If you could slap a SpongeBob sticker on it, then Nickelodeon would sign a document that legally allowed you to slap a SpongeBob sticker on it.
Oh my god.
And since they were already beginning to look like their main competitor, why not act like them too? And what's more Disney than rushing into a huge, difficult project fueled by temporary success? Welcome to the Nick Hotel. Going up?
We got some editing in here. That's nice. I can appreciate production value like that. That's cool.
On October 9th, 2003, Nickelodeon announced that they had formed a partnership with the hotel chain Holiday Inn for the purpose of transforming its Orlando resort.
Oh no. I already know that it's gonna be a bust. I don't know if it resonates with you as well, but like I always saw Holiday Inn as a bit of a meme hotel. I've never taken a Holiday Inn seriously. I don't know.
Holiday Inn Family Suites Resort into the first ever Nickelodeon hotel. The property was less than 5 years old, having just opened in the summer of 1999. The resort was Holiday Inn's first all-suite hotel, featuring 800 suites, 2 pools, water playgrounds, a restaurant, and a food court. The hotel was located just east of the Walt Disney World Resort, and transportation was provided to all 4 Disney parks. Nickelodeon had originally considered constructing a new resort themselves, but decided against this due to their constant fear of failure. Orlando was of course the perfect location for the resort's pilot test. It had a huge tourist population of families and young children, and the company had 2 attractions at Universal Studios Florida,
all these kids are
Nickelodeon
probably in their
Studios and the
30s
newly
and
opened
40s
Jimmy
now.
Neutron's Nicktoon Blast. The Holiday Inn was located closer to Walt Disney World than it was to Universal Studios, but Nickelodeon would take what they could get. During the announcement, Nickelodeon revealed that they had plans to build 4 more resorts throughout the country. The transformation of the Holiday Inn Family Suites Resort was to be completed in early 2005, and the renovation would cost an estimated $20 million. Nickelodeon began advertising the resort leading up to its release, and parents began to book their stays at the new hotel.
Did you hear? Nickelodeon has built a hotel just for you. Opening this Memorial Day, the brand new Nickelodeon Family Suites by Holiday Inn in Orlando, Florida. You get your own bedroom. 2 humongous pools with slides and flumes, a giant arcade, character breakfast.
I mean, I don't know. I would have been pretty freaking hyped for that. I feel like if little me saw that, I'd be pretty hyped. I'd want to go to Nickelodeon Hotel.
And live Nick Entertainment. Parents can book reservations by logging on to www.nickhotel.com or call 1-866-GO-TO-NICK.
Huh. Low attention was always a thing. This commercial proves it. I guess so. I guess TikToks now are just copying, like, they're just borrowing from the commercial format, so we can't really blame people for having short attention spans. The one difference here is that, like, those commercials, you don't, like, go out of your way to look for those commercials. Whereas, like, with TikToks, you're kind of just, like, willingly doom scrolling them nonstop for hours. So that's the difference, is, like, the quantity of the content, not necessarily the format. That's what I'm thinking. Like, we actively seek the ads now, basically.
On March 9th, 2005, the Nickelodeon Family Suites Holiday Inn, commonly referred to as the Nick Hotel,
It's
opened
Pablo!
its doors. Guests would walk up to
I
the
love
bright orange
Pablo.
resort, with characters peeking through the window of the main entrance. This led to the lobby and check-in desk. There were 4 room layouts that guests could choose from. The first was a 1-bedroom suite designed for 1 to 2 people. This included a king-sized bed, full kitchen, and a dishwasher. The second was a 2-bedroom kid suite. This included a private parents'
The kid suite just has a big ass SpongeBob looking at them while they sleep. Look, imagine you're on the bunk and it's like late at night and there's just a SpongeBob looking right at you. This is so 2000.
room, a living area, a bathroom, and a themed kids' room. The kids' room would either feature a bunk bed or 2 twin beds, and the rooms were themed to different Nickelodeon properties, such as SpongeBob, The Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, Dora the Explorer, Rugrats.
Hey babe, did you want to stay the night? No, I don't have a bed big enough for us. We're gonna have to sit in the twin bed SpongeBob room. We're gonna have to hold hands, bridge the gap between our Patrick Star beds while SpongeBob stares at us.
Such as SpongeBob, The Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron, Dora the Explorer, Rugrats, Danny Phantom, and more.
Wait,
Guests
I don't know. Okay, wait. Oh, I don't know about Danny Phantom though.
Jimmy Neutron, Dora the Explorer, Rugrats, Danny Phantom.
I don't know. This one was for the teens. This one was for the teens. This one was for the ones that wanted the goth baddie.
And more. Guests could request a specific character room and would be assigned to it if available. The kids' rooms also featured a television, and some came with a PlayStation 2.
Whoa!
Guests could rent games from the hotel for $5 or bring their own. There was also
Crazy.
a CD player and an activity table in most of the suites.
That activity table looks so sad. It looks so sad. Look at that. It's so tiny. This looks like the timeout corner in a kindergarten. It's so sad. The worst part about this is I'd probably fit in one of these chairs. Like, this table would be perfect for me.
Unlike the parents' room, there was no door separating the kids' room from the living area. This was due to a county law restricting doors on kid suites for safety reasons. The parents' room was unthemed and featured 2 side tables, a closet, a 25-inch TV, and a makeup desk.
Whoa.
The main living area featured a pull-out couch, a rocking chair, a dining table, and a 25-inch TV. The third suite layout was a 3-bedroom kid suite. This came with 2 private parent rooms, both with king-sized beds, a themed kids' room with a bunk bed and pull-out.
Wait, private parents' rooms? Like, each parent got their own room? How do you guys feel about that, by the way? I feel like that could possibly, like, I don't know. Like, like two separate rooms for the parents. I mean, people have different arrangements. My first impression, like, the first thought that appears in my head is like, oh, the 2 divorcee parents have to, like, take their kids out because, like, none of them can really figure out a custody arrangement at the moment, so they just have, like, their own separate beds. But at the same time, like, if a perfectly healthy married couple wanted to have their separate rooms, I don't know. Nah. The hoo-ha, the bow chicka wow wow, that's not going to be happening at the Nickelodeon Hotel. SpongeBob is watching them. SpongeBob is holding them accountable.
Cot, a full kitchen, a full dining room, and 2 bathrooms. The 4th and final layout was Nick Hotel's honeymoon suite, called the Nick at Night suite.
Oh
yeah.
no!
This included a heart-shaped whirlpool, mood lighting, scented bath lotion, an extra-large shower, and only 1 private bedroom.
Leave those kids at home.
For some reason,
Leave those kids alone. No, SpongeBob, no.
these rooms didn't last very long, and it seems that they were discontinued within a few years of the hotel's opening. All suites had the option of a wake-up call from a Nickelodeon character, and simple room service was available. The suites opened from the outside, resulting in the kids' suites having no windows. 14 6-story buildings housed the suites.
No windows. Oh my goodness. Those kids were locked in a frickin' prison.
The main structure comprised of 9 buildings, enclosing the lagoon pool, and the other 5 buildings enclosed the Oasis pool. The main area also featured the lobby, the fitness center, and Studio B, which was a space for special events such as conferences, birthday parties, and starting in 2009 for unexplicable reasons, weddings.
Oh.
The lagoon pool featured a basketball court, mini golf, a pool and a kiddie area, the Lagoon Bar and Grill poolside
Oh my
restaurant,
goodness.
and a large water park, the main attraction for children staying at the resort. The water park featured large cutouts of Nickelodeon characters,
I have a bit of a question for you guys. Are there, like, things like this, like playgrounds, but for adults? Because I miss being able to go to a park and, like, go down a slide. But everything is so tiny. So, like, by the time I get to the top of the slide, which only took, like, 1 step, I just, like, I don't know. Like, my entire body is long enough to, like, you know, cover the entire slide. And that depresses me a lot. A water park? No. I want, like, a playground, but for adults. I feel like if I Googled adult playground right now, I would get a bunch of results that were probably not gonna be able to, like...
water slides, water features, and a large water bucket at the top of the structure. This would periodically fill up, tip over, and douse guests with water. And at certain times of the day, the water would be colored green to simulate slime.
God.
This was treated as a special event, with hotel employees gathering everyone and getting them excited for the mass
frickin'
sliming.
slime fetish,
The
I
Oasis
swear
pool
to
area
God.
featured another poolside bar, a kiddie area, a spa, and a less elaborate water park. This was supposed to be the more relaxing area than the often crowded lagoon pool. In between the 2 hotel structures would be a building referred to as the mall. The mall
Whoa.
featured an arcade, a kids spa, and a gift shop, which sold
Ooh.
both Nickelodeon and Universal Studios merchandise. There was a 4D theater, which had a 3D screen, moving seats, bubbles, and water effects.
Huh.
This would show a SpongeBob 4D film, as well as 15-minute highlight reels from recent movies, such as the Ice Age franchise, and later, Pacific Rim. There was also a theater named Studio Nick for game shows and live character shows. When the hotel opened, Studio Nick had 2 game shows, Who Knows Best and Nick Live. Who Knows Best was a game show that tested how well families knew each other, while Nick Live was a show in which families would compete against other families and
Thank you for the beds, Peculiar. Thank you so much. Thank you.
in physical challenges and trivia, with the winner getting slimed. A small
Wait, hold on. Did you guys fuck with... Did you fuck with the show? I love this show. But it was also, like, low-key terrifying to think about it. Because, like, I used to be scared of Otis. He used to scare me so much. I'd have nightmares about Otis. Thank you for the hydrate.
against other families in physical challenges and trivia, with the winner
Otis is a
getting
guy.
slimed. A smaller scale version of this show called
Otis is a guy, so I don't know why he's getting
performed by
milked.
the Lagoon Pool, with a small dunk tank dedicated to the show. The Nick Hotel also had a wide array of dining options. The mall had its own food court, with restaurants rotating in and out from time to time. Restaurants included A&W, Pizza Hut Express, Antonio's Pizzeria, and Starbucks. There was a buffet open for breakfast and lunch, an adult bar named the Nick at Night Lounge, and the hotel's signature restaurant, the Nicktoons Cafe.
Whoa.
This reservation-only character dining restaurant served a breakfast and dinner buffet. The main appeal of the Nicktoons Cafe was, of course, the character meet and greets.
And now, a brief tangent on Nickelodeon character costumes.
Ooh.
The Nick Hotel allowed guests to meet many of their favorite Nickelodeon characters.
Oh, whoa. Okay, so I don't know. I have a few expectations for this section of the video, because on one hand, I know quite a few people that have been, like, you know, character actors at Disney, or know people that are character actors at Disney, and they go through some serious shit. So I hope there's no controversy about how these SpongeBob characters are treated or how they, like, go about their shit, because I don't know. We could dedicate a whole stream to just talking about frickin' Disney character actors, bro. I don't know. I hope they're not mistreated.
There were meet and greets set up throughout the hotel. Studio Nick character shows such as SpongeBob Alive, their favorite Nickelodeon characters. There were meet and greets set up throughout the hotel. Studio Nick character shows
The way he's just walking with his...
such as SpongeBob Alive, and dance parties in the pool area. The art of turning a two-dimensional cartoon into a three-dimensional walk-around costume is underappreciated. If done correctly, it can bring a beloved character to life. If done incorrectly, it is creepy.
Oh.
Today, Disney's walk-around characters rarely come off as unsettling. This is because of the talented actors that portray them, the brilliant artists that design them, and years of trial and error. Nickelodeon did not have the benefit of the latter. All of the Nick Hotel character costumes seem to be designed in such a way that the characters appear as though they are always smiling for a picture.
Oh.
However, this only works if they are staring directly at the camera, which they almost never are. On the other hand, Disney's costumes are designed to be multi-purposed. For instance, when Mickey is smiling for a picture, he will tilt his head up slightly. By design, he appears to be smiling more from this angle. When he
Okay.
tilts his head back down, he is still smiling, but it is more neutral, as opposed to relentless and terrifying. Also, most Disney costumes are designed for some amount of neck movement. This gives the characters more life, as they don't appear as walking sculptures. Many of Nickelodeon's costumes featured heads that were too large to move.
Oh my goodness. Imagine having to be stuffed in one of these. Ay caramba. You would not be able to move anything. How does that even work? Like, where are their heads? Like, what is the height? I need one of these people in these suits to stand next to a child, because I don't know how tall these are. Like, where is the head? Right here? How do they even... Where? Character actors were just the corporate VTubers of the early 2000s. I don't know if there's gonna be any hot goth girlfriends walking around in one of these suits. One of this over here is this over here is Travis. He's 50, and his wife just left him for Cosmo, and he's trying to get back at him by ruining his life via Wanda costume.
Move. This resulted in a surplus of premium-grade nightmare fuel. Made worse if the children actually did have a nightmare, they would turn on their bed light to reveal the character staring at them while they sleep. In short, every character at the Nick Hotel looked like they were on drugs at all times.
Patrick.
While they sleep. In short, every character at the Nick Hotel looked like they were on drugs at all times. Characters appearing at the resort included SpongeBob, Squidward, Sandy, Patrick, Mr. Krabs, Dora, Boots, Diego, Blue, Danny Phantom, Aang, Cosmo, Wanda, Jimmy Neutron.
Wait, oh my god, Jimmy Neutron is freaking terrifying. Jimmy Neutron is terrifying. Here's the thing about Danny, though. They literally could have just hired some e-boy who was, like, lacking for cash to just, like, spray dye his hair white and dress up in a Danny costume. Like, they did not have to go through the trouble to make him wear a whole ass, like, thingy. We did have e-boys in 2007. They had the swoopy hair and the piercings, and they listened to My Chemical Romance.
Angelica, the Power Rangers,
See?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's not bad.
Millie and Geo of Team Umizoomi.
Team Umizoomi!
Ming Ming Duck Ling. Fanboy and Chum Chum.
Fanboy and Chum Chum!
Ace and
Yo,
Marshall, the
I love
Paw
Fanboy
Patrol
and Chum
dogs.
Chum.
Pablo, the Bubble Guppies.
Yo, Bubble
and Little
Guppies!
Bill. The costume designs improved over time, but they were still not optimal for character shows.
But Squidward, today is the day that we honor the greatest sandwich in the 7 seas, the Krabby Patty.
Behind the mall, there was a man-made lake. While it was
love
not
Bubble
accessible to
Guppies.
guests, various statues of Nickelodeon characters were placed on it. The hotel also had Christmas festivities named the Let It Snow Celebration. The resort was decorated in bright Christmas lights, and it offered hot chocolate and s'mores around fire pits.
Wait,
Many of the
that's nice.
walk-around characters were dressed in seasonal costumes, and there was a special Studio Nick character show called Celebrate Nickmas. So, how much did it cost? The renovation to create the resort ended up costing around $25 million.
Oh my
And
God.
a total of 777 suites were available to book. Prices fluctuated throughout the year. A 2-bedroom kid suite cost between $135 and $275 a night, while a 3-bedroom kid suite cost between $300 and $600 a night. The buffet was around $10 for adults, $8 for kids, and free for anyone under 12. The Nicktoons Cafe character dining cost $17 for an adult and $10 for kids. An all-access wristband in later years would allow guests access to the 4D experience
I was
and
gonna
other
say, $10 for a buffet sounds okay. Maybe. I don't really go to buffets, so I don't know what a good price is, but, like, I remember that this was, like, 20 years ago, so inflation would do its thing and make it, like, something crazy.
for activities in the mall area.
Okay.
This cost around $20. So if you did the math,
$10
a
sounds
family
great
of
for
4
a
spending
buffet,
2
actually.
nights and a full day at the hotel would cost
I mean,
over
it'd be $20,
$750
right,
during
today?
peak season.
I don't know.
While this was expensive, the Nick Hotel operated as a resort, with enough activities and attractions to keep guests on property during their stay. This was different than Disney, as more often than not, Walt Disney World Resort hotel guests will be purchasing tickets to one or more of the property's theme parks. On April 30th, 2005, just over a month after the Nick Hotel opened its doors, Nickelodeon Studios at Universal Studios Florida closed. A time capsule had been buried outside of the studio in 1992. Kids voted on what they wanted to be placed in the capsule, and items such as a Back to the Future VHS, an MC Hammer CD, and a Nintendo Game Boy were buried.
Time
The
capsules are
capsule was to
cute.
remain for 50 years, to be opened in 2042.
Ooh.
After Nickelodeon Studios closed, the time capsule was moved to the Nick Hotel where it was reburied and displayed for guests. The Nickelodeon Hotel continued to operate normally for over a decade,
Time
adding
capsules
new
are
entertainment options and shows periodically. In May of 2012, Double Dare Live, a new game show at Studio Nick based off of the hit TV show, debuted. In 2014, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Summer of the
Yeah!
Show began. Some rooms were rethemed to the heroes, and a laser maze based off of the TV show was added to the mall. In 2015, the Nick Hotel celebrated its 10th anniversary. But just a
Yay!
month after the celebration ended, the Nick Hotel would receive some devastating news. On January 29, 2016, Nickelodeon announced that the Nickelodeon Family Suites would be rebranded back into a Holiday Inn.
No.
The news, while sad for many, was not necessarily shocking. There were a few signs that the Nick Hotel might not be around for much longer.
Aw.
For one, Nickelodeon had a severely reduced presence at Universal Studios Florida, since
Ah.
Nickelodeon Studios had closed in 2005 and Jimmy Neutron's Nicktoon Blast had closed in 2011. While walk-around characters still appeared at the park, there was no attraction dedicated to Nickelodeon. This made marketing the resort and the park together slightly more difficult. And more than anything, it was an indication that an era of Nickelodeon was over. By 2016, the original branding was dated, as all of the shows, except SpongeBob and the Fairly Odd Parents, had ended. Another issue was that
Aw.
the concept for the resort was flawed from the beginning. The Nick Hotel operated like an all-inclusive resort, similar to those found in tropical destinations. The problem was that the Nick Hotel was in the middle of Orlando.
That's pretty sad. Honestly. Not surprising, but very sad. Hi, RM. Welcome in. Is your name pronounced Romance? That's really cute. Welcome in, welcome in. I don't know. If anything like this was launched with franchises that were more relevant and in touch with this day and age, I don't think it would have done as well as it probably would have. At least not as well as it would have done in like 2005. Which is really sad. It's very sad. I don't know. It just seems like kids don't really do that anymore. They don't go to theme parks, really. I mean, theme parks are still in business, but I don't think they're as big a thing as, like, they used to be. Like, a lot of what kids do nowadays is very, like they don't have to go outside to do it. And it's also very expensive. Nobody has the money for this kind of shit anymore. Which is really sad. Kids nowadays. They're not to blame. But like, this just wouldn't thrive as a concept in today's day and age. Like, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. If you really calculate the costs to play Fortnite versus like, you know, going to one of these. Let's say a kid likes to play Fortnite and also purchases V-Bucks. I'm pretty sure over time, like, the money they've spent buying skins on Fortnite would be equivalent to maybe like a week's stay at the Nickelodeon Hotel. What do you mean milking Otis isn't what kids want? Society's corrupt now.
This made guests feel claustrophobic, as the resort was not sitting next to an ocean. They also wanted to go experience Orlando's many attractions. But for the price of the Nick Hotel, guests needed to stay on property to get their money's worth. However, these were all minor issues. The biggest reason for the debranding was Nickelodeon's new partnership with Charisma Hotels.
Oh.
This was created to build Nickelodeon resorts throughout the world. The company had never gone through with the plans for expansion with Holiday Inn, most likely due to the Nick Hotel not being a massive success. The resort was popular, but it was clear that the Holiday Inn concept wouldn't work outside of Orlando. The first Nickelodeon resort with Charisma Hotels would open in Punta Cana in the Dominican
Oh, whoa, yeah, no. Kids don't like theme parks and water
Orlando.
slides and being
The first
slimed on
Nickelodeon
anymore.
resort with Charisma Hotels
They like face masks. They like face masks and chillaxing. They've become many adults. They don't have time for silly games anymore. They need their freaking R&R right now. Mewing, ew. No mewing. Hi, attackers, thank you for the bits. You didn't miss much. We watched a few videos. Nothing has been really lost media per se just yet, but we're gonna get to that soon.
would open in Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic later in 2016. The new resort would have many attractions similar to the Nick Hotel, but it had a more elegant and subtle design and was located on a beach. The Punta Cana resort was met with glowing reviews, and another resort is set to open in Riviera Maya, Mexico in 2019. Since Nickelodeon was focusing on a more luxurious resort brand, they decided to end their licensing contract with Holiday Inn.
I figured out my ideal living situation. I want to live in one of these. You know those mini houses in Tokyo? Very, very small. Super duper small. Basically like a room. Like a really long, like vertically inclined room. I want to live in here. I can already see the vision. As soon as you enter, it's a kitchen around the circumference. And then there's like a little ladder where you can climb up and there's like a bed. and there's like enough, just enough to like store some things. I'd love that. Looks too small. I don't know. You haven't been to my pineapple just yet. If I ever run out of space, I can just dig down. I can make an underground bunker. And if the World War III ever breaks out, well, you'll know where you'll know where to find me.
There was also one more reason for the closure. The hotel was not in great shape.
The Nickelodeon Hotel.
I'd have
10
so much
years
space for
later.
activities.
These images may be disturbing.
No! Ew! Oh my god. Yucky. No. Oh my god, the shaking fan. That gave me so much anxiety. No.
By 2016, the Nick Hotel desperately needed a renovation. This meant either updating all of the Nickelodeon characters and properties, or removing them completely. The timing just happened to be perfect to end the contract. The resort was to receive a $30 million renovation along with the debranding. It was set to reopen on April 17, 2016.
I don't know if I'm just jaded by prices nowadays, but $30 million to me to build all this seems okay. I was expecting $1 billion for some reason, because I don't know. I don't know, man. You know, just a cheap $30 million. I'm not a millionaire. I'm just saying, like, I'm so jaded by how expensive everything is now that I expected it to be a lot more than that. I don't know. I'm not out of touch. Okay, listen, you know what I do? Every time I make a meal, I calculate it. All of my meals this week have been under $2 per meal. That is my college lifestyle. Hi, Milk, welcome in. If you eat mostly eggs and potatoes and vegetables and you weigh them and you calculate the price, they're usually under $2.
However, construction delays pushed the project back nearly 2 months. Having been announced in
I'm
January,
saving up, okay? And I'm also curious because I want to make sure that I'm not spending more than I should be. Because I feel like I'm very easy to scam. So I'm trying to be a little bit more conscious, you know? So I've been running the stats. I am eating healthy. You can eat very healthy if you you know, just buy like whole foods that are that are bought in bulk. And when you calculate it, like the cost per item when you buy in bulk, then you know, like things really like work out well, you know? Yeah. I don't know. Use the money from these bits, right? The money from these bits goes into my next VTuber model. You're the type to go to Costco once a month? Generally, yeah, I like to buy like frozen chicken in bulk and then I'll just freeze it and then I'll eat it and then I'll like do meal preps. But like for fresh veggies, I don't really like frozen veggies all that much. Like the texture just kind of fucks with me. So I'll usually like buy those regularly, but everything else is like I like to like keep it stored. Pretty much. You've got some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell me. I don't know. All I know about Arizona is that it's way too hot and you can cook an egg on the sidewalk.
Close. This put the Nick
Thank
Hotel
you,
in a
Hijacking.
state of limbo for 5 months, and the hotel stayed open for most of the transformation. During this time, certain activities were discontinued, buildings were being repainted, and logos were being removed. The time capsule was once again dug up and moved to the Nickelodeon studios in Burbank. Less people were staying at the hotel during this time, and the resort felt abandoned. Many of the themed kid suites remained, despite the rest of the hotel being given a blue paint job and replacing all Nickelodeon logos with Holiday
A
Inn.
cooking
Many of the
stream.
TVs and
One
appliances
day,
had
one
not been
day.
replaced since the hotel opened. The mall area was almost completely silent, with many of the attractions and restaurants being renovated or removed. Finally, on June 1st, 2016, the resort reopened as the Holiday Inn Orlando Suites.
Oh.
The hotel still hosts family game shows. The food court reopened with some new restaurants.
Aw.
The water bucket is now dyed dark blue at certain times. The 4D theater now shows some generic movie. The laser maze is now themed to Batman. And the gift
Aw.
shop now sells both Nickelodeon and Disney merchandise. The prices have also dropped significantly, now
Aw.
typically below $100 a night for a room with a kid suite.
Okay.
The Nick Hotel was an
That's
interesting
decent.
experiment to say the least, because it didn't not work. Attendance was consistent, it wasn't completely neglected by either company, and it avoided what would have probably been a disastrous expansion. At the same time, it wasn't perfect. The design was cheesy, the activities were immature, and there was little to nothing for parents. Plus, Holiday Inn, known more for having economical prices rather than luxurious facilities, was probably not the best choice for the partnership. Nickelodeon made the right decision in partnering with Charisma Hotels, and it is possible that many new Nickelodeon resorts will open in the future. While these new resorts best the Nickelodeon family suites in almost every category, it
Oh.
is still disappointing to see such an elaborate entertainment experience disappear. Seeing the
Yeah.
debranded hotel, a skeleton of what it once was, is devastating to those that stayed there and the many more that
Yeah.
wanted to. While it might be gone, the Nick Hotel leaves behind a decade of memories of Nickelodeon fans having the best day ever.
Aww. That's a really sweet way to end the video. I mean, like, I enjoyed a lot of things when I was younger that, looking back, did not get the best reviews. Like, there's this one theme park that I absolutely love that everybody, like, you know, shits on like crazy. Because, like, technically it isn't the safest theme park, but, you know, I like it. I made a lot of memories there. Who cares if Google or Yelp says it has 2 stars? I don't care. I don't care. Not Six Flags, but I did go to Six Flags recently with a family. Six Flags was nice. Just kidding. Six Flags is incredibly crazy nowadays. I wanted to buy a Squishmallow, and all the Squishmallows there were marked up like 50% up, like, from like the regular commercial price. It was crazy. Thank you so much for the bits, Peculiar and Attackers. Thank you, thank you. You're excited for the new one, but the old one will hold a special place in your heart. Yeah, I call it a 2.0, but I don't say that because, like, it's any better than this one. This one, for me, has a lot of memories associated with it, so I don't think I'll ever really, you know, stop using it. I might bring it back sometimes. I don't know. Seriously, I don't remember how much a Squishmallow is, but at the Six Flags that I went to, it was like, I don't know. Wait, Squishmallow's price. I'm guessing like maybe like $20. Yeah, around $20, 20 Canadian. At the freaking Six Flags that I went to, it was like $50. That's more than 50% markup. That's like 200% markup. Like, what the fuck? It was like $50. Freaking daylight robbery. It was like $50. And I went there. I wanted to eat a churro because I haven't had churros in a while. One churro stick was $12. And obviously, like, as soon as you drive into the theme park, they tell you to get rid of all your food. You're not allowed to bring outside food. You have to eat all their $12 churros, and you gotta wash it all down with their $9 water. Their $9 water. Their $9 water. So you bet your bottom dollar we rolled up to frickin' McDonald's before that. And we hid our food. Because I was not gonna buy $9 water. Anyway. Do you want to watch an actual Lost Media channel now? We can return to Defunct Land. But I think maybe it's time to watch this. Let me do a little bit of a scroll through. Let's see how scary it gets. Huh, what is that? Okay, stop. It's not that scary. It's alright. Okay. Sure. 100 cases of lost media.
Here Comes Mumphy. Back in 1975, Catherine Tozer's Mumphy books had been adapted into a television puppet show titled Here Comes Mumphy, and the show has become extremely obscure.
Oh geez.
52 episodes of this show had been created, and so far the only episodes of the series that have resurfaced
scary as
since
fuck.
come from a very rare VHS tape, known as 2 Hours of Fun with the Munch Bunch and Mumphy, that was originally released in April of 1983. The VHS release contains 6 episodes.
These scare the shit out of me, cause, you know Shaun the Sheep? You know how Shaun the Sheep is one of those clay animated thingies, and like, I don't know, like some of them look kind of funny? Okay, wait, Shaun the Sheep was this one show that I remember watching on Disney Channel, and it was like a stop motion animated thing with like clay or some shit. I thought it was cute, but, yeah, like Wallace and Gromit, I thought it was cute, but there were still some moments that were a little bit, uncanny, so it kind of freaked me out. This is like that, but like actually creepy, I feel like. There's something really kind of like eerie about some stop motion animation with clay. I don't know.
These episodes, along with half an episode uploaded to YouTube back in 2012, and a Persian dubbed episode also uploaded to YouTube back in 2012, are the only episodes known to exist.
It looks weird.
No other footage of this show has been found or recovered since. The majority of Here Comes Mumphy has become lost.
No.
Super Mario 64 Big Star Secret.
Should I speed it up a little bit? Just a little bit. Let's see. Custom.
All the way back in August of 2007, a video was uploaded onto YouTube titled Super Mario 64 Big Star Secret. This video was a local.
Yeah, I want lore, because this is more of a compilation. Thank you for the gift, so small. Thank you. I want lore. I want, like, actual, I want to be able to get immersed. Yeah, they added this recently. I don't know how recent, but you can alter it by the 0.05, which I think is pretty neat. Yeah, I don't know. Thank you for the gift sub attackers. Thank you. I want stories. Do you guys have any recommendations? I know somebody dropped one. Defunct TV. Okay, wait. I'm gonna look this up. I'm a little disappointed by this one. Not that it's bad, it's just not what I'm looking for. Wait, that's Defunct Land. Defunct TV. Oh, it's a playlist by Defunct Land. Okay, okay. Alrighty. They made like a little bit of a playlist. That's cute. Defunct TV. The History of Bear in the Blue House. Let's see. Okay, wait. Let me scroll to the side so you guys can see the options. Right here. Those are the options. We got History of Bear in the Blue House, History of Legends of the Hidden Temple, History of Zoboomafoo, History of Between the Lions, History of the Wubulous World of Dr. Seuss, History of Zoboomafoo. Okay, we're doing Zoboomafoo.
Funding.
I don't know what Zoboomafoo is. What the hell? You guys gotta get me in the
For
freaking
Defunct
mood.
TV is provided by Skillshare. Thousands of online courses that make
I've
learning
never heard
easy
about
and
it.
fun. and viewers like you.
Huh. I don't know, Zoboomafoo.
In the fall of
gonna eat a
1970,
snack.
the Public Broadcasting Service made its debut. Created by the government-funded, privately owned nonprofit, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the network began providing programming to 199 channels throughout the United States.
Ooh.
PBS had absorbed the majority of the programming and operations of the former leader in public broadcasting, National Educational Television. NET had debuted in 1954 as the first major network for educational programming. It would eventually find mainstream success and critical acclaim by airing the first national season of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in 1967 and the premiere of Sesame Street in 1969. PBS would acquire these properties and many of the network's other shows, and the network continued to produce new content for younger audiences. It wouldn't be until 1994 that the network would take these shows and organize them into a dedicated children's programming block, named PTV. This was in part due to the increased competition in children's television. Since its inception, PBS had been unconcerned with matching the ratings of the major American television networks, but it had long held a monopoly on children's educational programming. By 1996, the once dedicated demographic was tuning into other channels. Nickelodeon was finally finding its stride in the industry, and the Disney Channel was finishing its transition to basic cable and was preparing to air its new children's programming block, Playhouse Disney. Despite PBS having been around for the longest, it was now the underdog in children's television. It was a non-profit heavily relying on donations, so it didn't have near the
PBS never really reached me. So I don't know Mr. Roger really. I don't really know anything that was really broadcasted on there. You'll have to educate me. I don't know whether it's a generational thing or a geographical thing.
budget that the Disney Channel or Nickelodeon did. However, PBS knew how to create a lot more with a lot less, and they began to produce new TV shows in response to the competition. One of these new programs would air on June 3, 1996, and it would introduce children to two very entertaining and engaging hosts. Kratt's Creatures was hosted by Chris and Martin Kratt, commonly referred to as the Kratt Brothers. The show followed the two exploring the world and its wildlife. The episodes would typically focus on either many species in a specific region, or a species in particular throughout the world.
What was that?
We focus on either many species in a specific region, or a species in particular throughout the world. The Kratt Brothers and their crew were not afraid to get close to the animals, and they would do so often, even with some of the more dangerous ones.
This guy is a perfect example of why creatures go solo. Just looking at him, you can tell that this cat is capable of defending himself.
During the filming of an episode in Peru, the brothers' river raft sank into crocodile-infested waters. Luckily, they were able to make it to shore unharmed. The brothers were aware that many children had misconceptions about certain animals, and one of their main goals was to set the record straight on all species.
On this episode, we're chasing down the answers to some unanswerable questions.
But the big question is, do creatures enjoy playing like we do?
That's another good question, and we'll do anything to find out the answer.
The show also had a few side characters, such as a young girl named Allison Baldwin, played by Shannon Duff. Allison was Martin and Chris's assistant, and was typically seen monitoring their progress from the team's headquarters, the Creature Club. She was also a master at fake typing.
Oh God.
The Wahlberg Seagull, the red-billed hornbill, the pin-tailed whydah, and bingo.
There was also a blue creature named
Bingo. So you're telling me that wasn't her real name? What the hell? We've been lying to kids this whole time? Disgusting. How dare they? Bingo. Bingo bongo.
Tark, voiced by Ron Rubin, that would appear in animated form on the Creature Club's monitors. He was often used for concepts that were explained easier with graphics.
Pretty handsome guy, huh? So he goes his way, and I go mine.
A few million years pass, and next time you meet...
Kazawi, have you changed? And I mean more than putting on a little weight. Ah!
Kratts Creatures
Damn.
would end its run on August 9th, 1996, after one season consisting of 50 episodes. The concept of Kratts Creatures was nothing new. Wildlife shows had been produced for decades, but the brothers noticed that many of them had begun to rely more on stock footage and less on exploration. Martin and Chris's hands-on approach and passion for the animals was ultimately what made the show so successful.
No.
With one hit PBS show down and an infinite amount of enthusiasm, the brothers began developing a new children's nature series. During the early development stages, they had the wild
sold
idea
out.
to travel to Duke University to visit its popular lemur center. Martin had graduated from the university and had spent time studying at the habitat. There, one of the employees would introduce them to a 3-year-old cockerel shafak lemur. His name was Jovian, and he was a star.
Ooh.
With the Crack Brothers!
Zoboomafoo.
One day, Chris and Martin saw something strange. A little leaping lemur who liked to bounce and play.
Oh shit. That's a banger.
Come along and see what's new. We're doing the things that animals do.
The Kratts' new show, Zoboomafoo, premiered on January 25th, 1999.
Huh.
The title character, often referred to as simply Zabu or Zob, was portrayed by both Jovian and a puppet voiced by Gord Robertson. The brothers auditioned many of the lemurs at the Duke Lemur Center, but Jovian stood out among all of them. After doing test runs with Jovian and his parents, all of which went flawlessly, Martin and Chris decided to focus the show around the lemur. The production crew shot all of the scenes with the live Zoboomafoo at the Lemur Center in a little over 2 months. Part of the show's set was constructed in Jovian's cage so that Martin and Chris could interact with him. Jovian's parents, Nigel and Flavia, were also used in a few of the shots
Nigel
in
and
place of Jovian. The show
Flavia.
would combine these scenes with puppets, other live animals, 2D animation, and claymation to create the colorful Animal Junction, the main setting of the show. Unlike Kratts Creatures, where Martin and Chris would travel the globe to search for interesting animals, Zoboomafoo saw the creatures coming to them. The brothers would often explain in the show that certain animals don't play with each other in real life, but they would remind the viewer that anything is possible in Animal Junction.
Aw, that's cute. That's something I really like. Found family with animals. Like whenever there's a new news story about how, oh, this lion adopted a monkey. I love those so much. They're so cute. Even though the lion could have eaten the monkey, they didn't eat the monkey. Oh, shit. Sorry, I didn't mean to pause on the eggs.
Was also used to expedite various parts of the show, such as showing a tadpole metamorphosize into a frog in under a minute. Each episode of the show followed generally the same structure. After the intro sequence, the Kratts headed into Animal Junction, discussing an activity relating to the topic of that particular episode. After entering, they would go to the window discussing an activity relating to the topic of that particular episode.
It has boobies. It has boobies.
After entering, they would go to the window and call for Zoboomafoo. Zabu would then jump into Animal Junction. After a bit of leaping, Martin or Chris would give him a snack by pressing the lemur button on the food dispenser. It is only after Zabu eats his treat that he is able to speak. After being fed, he burps, exclaiming, "Excuse me," before spinning around and yelling, After this, he appears almost exclusively in puppet form, with the episode only cutting back to Jovian for full body shots of him jumping around. After being fed, Zabu greets the Kratt brothers and begins to describe an animal that he recently encountered, usually describing them with the word Mangasika.
Mangasika?
Mangasika is a Malagasy word that literally translates to cold. However, Zabu uses it to mean cool or amazing. Despite being able to describe the animal, Zabu never knows its name. This leads into the song Who Could It Be?, accompanied by a cartoon segment that shows a blob of color that slowly starts to evolve features such as legs, eyes, ears, and overall shape in order to visually describe to the viewer what animal Zabu saw.
Who could they be? Who could it be? This animal
Whoa.
I did see.
Oh.
Can you help me guess this mystery?
After the video, the animal in question enters Animal Junction, with the Kratt brothers revealing the animal's name as well as a few fun facts about it. After performing several activities with the animal, Zabu then recollects a memory related to the topic by traveling to an imaginary place called Zabu Land. This happens at least once and sometimes twice per episode. Zabu Land was a fever dream and a half. The segment was presented through claymation, and it would often recycle the exact same footage from previous episodes, most likely to save money. Zabu Land had an entirely separate cast of characters with the exception of Zabu.
I love the cutting commentary. Yeah, they'd recycle a lot of the scenes. They needed to save money. No punches held back. Ruining childhoods one clip at a time.
Most of which were fictional creatures that possessed features of real-life animals. These characters included Narchi, an anteater elephant hybrid, voiced by Bear in the Big Blue House puppeteer Peter Linz. Gooble, a purple bear-like elephant hybrid.
I know this guy. I've seen this guy. I don't know anything about Zaboo, but I know this guy. I've seen him online. Yeah. He's just a little guy.
Voiced by Bear in the Big Blue House puppeteer Peter Linz. Gooble, a purple bear-like creature. Phoebe, an octopus with an alien-like head, one tentacle, and one crab arm. And Psy, a one-eyed, two-tentacled squid creature that had the
Mike
power of flight.
Wazowski.
Snow Lemur, you have a growberry?
Oh, sure. Sure, Zabu. One growberry, coming up. Down. Yeah, down. Here it comes. Watch out.
Ooh.
You can dig your own hole, Noggin Drill. Just use your head.
Use my head. Oh, okay.
Hello, Zabu. Hi, Zabu. Google found a big patch of goobleberries. Yeah, they're over here. Yummy. Well, I'll help you eat them. Stand over there, and I'll blow them to you. Oh, okay.
Oh, nice. And Google's belly filled up and got big and round.
Way to go! Google's belly is getting full.
Yep, that's my favorite kind of belly.
After this nightmare is over, Chris and Martin receive a letter from a group called the Animal Helpers. Who show the children how to, spoiler alert, help animals. After reading the letter, Chris and Martin venture outside of Animal Junction and visit more animals related in some way to the episode's topic. This segment was prefaced by a song called Going to the Closet, sung by Zaboo. When the brothers opened the door to their equipment closet, the contents would always come crashing down on them.
Oh.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
What are they thinking?
We have to get this baby alligator back to his mom. To the swamp.
They're going
Aw,
to the
those are baby
closet.
alligators.
They're going on a trip.
Are you ready? Let's go.
That's so cute. Oh. Oh.
Going to the closet to grab their stuff and split.
A leash for Myrtle. Great. Martin. Oh, yeah. Well, we gotta do what we gotta do.
Yeah, brother.
After returning from their short trip outside, the brothers and Zaboo end the episode by singing Animal Friends, a song about how each animal is unique and special in their own way.
Aww.
With the song closing on the remark, one more thing we have to say, go make an animal friend today.
Aww.
The episode would end with Zaboo jumping out of the window to return to his home.
These animals are friends of mine. They jump and swim, crawl, fly, and climb.
Aww,
One more thing we
that's
have to say,
cute.
go make an animal friend today.
Zoboomafoo was an immediate success for PBS and the PTV programming block,
That's
which was
cute.
transitioning into PBS Kids around the time the show premiered. The first season, consisting of 40 episodes, would air from January 25th, 1999 to April 27th, 2000. A second season of 25 episodes would quickly be produced, and would air from October 3rd, 2000 to November 21st, 2001.
Oh
The show would
man, this show is older than some of my viewers. Crazy.
also inspire toys and video games. Despite its popularity, the series would not receive a third season. This was
Aw.
most likely due to PBS having plenty of episodes to rerun, a common reasoning for cancellation in children's programming. Zoboomafoo would continue to air during the PBS Kids block until
I love him. He's my favorite. He looks like he has a freaking turd on his head and he just likes to spin and go woo.
reasoning for cancellation in children's programming. Zoboomafoo would continue to air during the PBS Kids block until January 16, 2004, when the majority of the PBS stations pulled it from their schedules. The premium children's channel Sprout, which began operations on September 26, 2005. The premium children's channel Sprout, which began operations on September 26, 2005, would begin syndicating Zoboomafoo and other PTV and PBS Kids productions. This would last until 2011,
I
when
read
Sprout
it,
would pull
John
Zoboomafoo
Wilkerman.
from its lineup. Soon after the end of Zoboomafoo, the Kratt brothers would return to television with a new series called Be the Creature. Another wildlife show, the series would debut
Was
on
he
National
freaking bleeding? Oh my god.
Geographic in 2003. The show saw the Kratt brothers returning to the wild for an up-close look at animals, and its advertising highly emphasized the dangerous aspects of their adventures in an attempt to appeal to older audiences.
Oh. Oh.
Be the creature.
The show would run for 3 seasons, ending in 2007, with a total of 30 40-minute episodes being produced. In 2011, Martin and Chris would return to PBS to debut yet another wildlife series. However, this show, titled Wild Kratts, is completely animated. It is once again hosted by Chris Kratt and Ron Stoppable. I mean Martin Kratt. The show contains much more action to take advantage of the new medium, including supervillains and stylized gadgets. The show is currently on its 5th season, and a 6th season has been confirmed.
Aww.
On November 10th, 2014, the Duke University Lemur Center reported some terrible news. Jovian had died of kidney failure at the age of 20, despite lemurs of his species typically living between 25 and 30 years. The university, the Kratt brothers, and the show's many fans mourned the loss of the kind animal. From the outside, Zoboomafoo appears to be a short-lived PBS hit, but to those that grew up watching the show, it was so much more. Martin and Chris's passion for creatures and learning motivated many kids' interest in animals and nature, and the wildlife, animation, and Zabu himself made Animal Junction a destination
This is the first time I've ever heard of
worth
this
returning
show.
to. The eyes of a former viewer will light up at the mere mention of the show's title character, as a lasting impression was made by that little leaping lemur that liked to dance and play.
He was just a little leaping lemur that liked to dance and play. No, that's so sad. No.
Defunct TV is made possible by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online
Wait, I
learning
can't play
community
this. I'm
with
sorry.
thousands
I'm not
of classes to
sponsored by
learn
Skillshare. I'm not sponsored by Skill. You can't flash this and then suddenly do an advertising for Skillshare. Anyway. I'm glad I found out about Zoboomafoo because I think I'm gonna be going down a bit of an internet rabbit hole today. I need to find out the name of that guy with the drill on his head. I think he's my new favorite ever. I think he's my new favorite ever. Noggin drill, because he has a little noggin. Okay, let's see. History of the Puzzle Place, history of Under the Umbrella Tree, history of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? History of Dumbo, history of Ooby, history of Welcome to Pooh. I don't know. What are we thinking? There's Ooby. How many videos does Defunctland have? Oh my goodness. Dragon Tales? You want Dragon Tales? I can do Dragon Tales.
Defunct TV is sponsored by NordVPN. Go to nordvpn.com/defunctland to start browsing privately and securely online. Defunct TV is also brought
This
to you in
stream
part
is not
by
sponsored
viewers like
by
you.
NordVPN.
In 1995, Columbia TriStar Television, a studio owned by Sony Pictures Entertainment, was attempting to diversify its content. Columbia Pictures Television and TriStar Television had recently merged into one studio, and they had found success producing shows such as Mad About You and The Nanny. A third studio owned by Sony would be folded into Columbia TriStar, Merv Griffin Enterprises, which specialized in the production of game shows such as Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. On top of this, Columbia TriStar purchased...
Oh my god, wait. I want to do that one time on stream. I want to play a game show game. I want to do a game show thingy on stream one time. That could be really fun. Really fun. Play like Family Feud or some shit. Am I smarter than a 5th grader? I instantly get freaking blocked by the first question.
libraries
I know
of
that
older
it's a game on the
television shows to
Switch.
bulk up their library.
I can
Finally,
get it.
a television animation division of Sony named Adelaide Productions would produce animated shows for the company. The studio entered production on an animated Jumanji television series and a cartoon named Project Geeker. They also began to search for more ideas for animated television series.
Oh.
As luck would have it, a secretary of one of the Sony executives tasked with coming up with new ideas was strolling through an arts festival when she came across a series of fantastic drawings depicting variations of one fantastical creature. They were all dragons, and they were perfect.
Yes! Sorry. It's about me. It's about me.
In 1977, a school teacher by the name of Ron Rodecker awoke from a quadruple bypass surgery. The potentially life-threatening operation had instilled in Ron a sense of regret. He
And a dragon saved his life.
said, quote, "If I had died right then, my epitaph would have read, could have been an artist."
Damn.
Always interested in drawing, the 47-year-old felt that he had not pursued his creative passion enough.
That's actually pretty sad. Do you ever think about that? It's a bit morbid, but I've thought about that before. What would be on my epitaph? That is very sad. Could have been better. Oh my god, no. Sorry, I'm not gonna go down that path. Not tonight.
While in the hospital, he began sketching, drawing
Could have
dragons,
been better.
explaining that they were a beast that symbolized the forces in life too big to control. Ron made the decision to pursue his art on the side, continuing his teaching career while entering arts festivals in 1978. He continued to draw, not losing interest in the ferocious magical beasts. 7 years later in 1985, while visiting a flea market, Ron stumbled upon the book, The Encyclopedia of Legendary Creatures, which greatly helped him perfect his dragons. He would begin painting the beasts in watercolors, continuing to show them at festivals. Ron would make a series of short independent books about the creatures called Dragonland.
Thanks
So
for
it went for
stopping
another
by,
decade,
Bob.
with
Hope to
Ron
see you
continuing his
soon.
career as an educator and pursuing his art on the side. That would all change one fateful day in 1995 while he was sitting at his booth at an arts festival, and the secretary from Sony Pictures Entertainment walked by. She was especially drawn to one image of a dragon reading a bedtime story to a young child. She loved Ron's art, asking him if he'd be willing to meet with her boss and come up with a story surrounding the dragons for a potential TV series. Of course, Ron jumped on the opportunity, using the simple plots of his Dragonland books to write the pitch.
I like the way the dragons in this are depicted. They're not scary or ferocious or sharp around the edges. They're cute and tubby and scared of people. Round and sleepy and soft and yeah.
He met with the Sony executive, Jim Cohen, explaining that his stories could be a way to, quote, teach children to meet new situations with confidence. In Ron's mind, dragons could be viewed as either ferocious enemies or powerful allies depending on the viewer, and a simplified take on this for children, in which dragons could help them learn lessons and approach situations, would make for a great television show. Ron said, quote, "Dragons are with us in one form or another, but we have the choice with how we live with them. They can engender fear and hopelessness, or challenge growth and risk. I choose to view and portray them as the latter." Cohen was impressed, but he told Ron that the chances were slim to none that the show would ever come of his idea. This was just the nature of the television industry, and on top of this, Sony didn't specialize in producing content for children's television, making greenlighting the show even more challenging. Cohen told Ron that he would try his best, and the two parted ways. Fate, clearly being on the side of the kind schoolteacher, would bring the Sony executive, completely coincidentally, into the same room as a representative from the Children's Television Workshop. The chance encounter was spent by Cohen explaining Ron's idea, and asking if CTW, the creators of Sesame Street and the biggest name in children's television, would be willing to co-produce the show with Columbia TriStar Television.
I actually have a bit of a thought on that. I mean, I don't have my facts in order, but I have a feeling that, like, people who used to make, like, more adult-inclined shows can actually make some pretty crazy good kids shows. Because, I don't know, when I think of Adventure Time now, there are a lot of themes in it that definitely don't qualify it as a kids show. There are lots of themes that it covers that wouldn't qualify it as like your typical kids show. But it's largely advertised as that, and it resonates really well with some kids, but it also tackles some really crazy, like, I would say dark topics, but they do so really well. So, I don't know. No. Anyway.
Distribution. The representative loved the Dragonland idea,
We
and
shouldn't
after developing the pitch
baby
further,
kids too much.
Columbia TriStar and CTW entered an agreement
They're
to produce
smarter
an
than we
animated show together named Dragon Tales, with Ron coming on as a series creator and producer. The two companies sought funding from the Public Broadcasting Corporation, with television star and producer Wesley Ure writing the show's treatment, along with a companion series, Show and Tell Me, which would never come to fruition. On January 9th, 1996, it was announced that the new series Dragon Tales was granted $4.2 million for a 40-episode first season. This was part of an $8.4 million grant payout, with the other half of the sum going to the development of a reading comprehension show named Between the Lions.
All of these things are making me realize that I have no idea how much money it actually costs to make things. Like, as a creator, I know how much money it costs to make, like, a channel and, like, run a channel. And I know how much money it can cost to, like, I don't know, run a VTuber channel. But I don't know anything about how much it costs to make a show. Or how much it costs to, like, release a Broadway show. Or, like, for all I know, a lot of things could be not profitable. But they just, they just keep running. They just keep chugging along. Something I learned the other day is, Reddit has never made any profit in the past 20 years. And that kind of scares me a little bit as somebody that, like, relies on it a little bit. But at the same time, like, I don't know. They said that Reddit doesn't make any profit. Which, like, you know what? Like, even though it's a little scary because I kind of rely on it, it also kind of makes sense. Reddit doesn't really, like, have any real big, well, as it used to stand, Reddit didn't have a whole ton of, like, money making methods on their website. They mostly relied on, like, ads and, like, Reddit Premium, which nobody pays for. So it makes sense that they don't make money, but I don't know. They're also selling out like crazy right now, so whatever.
Dragon Tales would also be produced for Canada's public television station, CBC. Ron helped create the designs for each dragon character in the show. The result was not the same as his art, with the main difference being the character's scale and the character's scales. He explained that the dragon's design, shape, and feel for the show were inspired by his golden retrievers.
Apparently Discord doesn't make money
as they provided a lovable
either.
and child-friendly source. Korean animation studio Urim Productions was hired to animate the show. The show's thesis was, quote, "What Sesame Street is for academic readiness, Dragon Tales will be for emotional readiness." And the show's target demographic were children between the ages of 2 and 7. The studios went to work creating the first 40 episodes of the show. And on September 6, 1999, nearly 4 years after receiving its initial funding, Dragon Tales premiered on PBS.
Oh, okay. There we go. We're getting the tempo up. I was kind of falling asleep, not gonna lie. Yeah.
Let's all go to Dragonland.
Let's all go to
In the first season of
Dragonland.
Dragon Tales, each 25-minute episode of the show was split into 2 12-minute parts, each containing an isolated story. The first story of the show's first episode was titled To Fly with Dragons. It started with the show's main characters, siblings Emmy and Max, voiced by Andrea Libman and Danny McKinnon respectively, moving into their new house. Emmy is excited about the move, but Max is hesitant. He cheers up as they enter their brand new playroom, with dragon wallpaper, just like in Emmy's dragon book. The two find a secret drawer containing a box with dragons on it. They open up the box to find an authentic dragon scale. Emmy reads a rhyme to say while holding the object.
I wish with all my heart to fly with dragons.
I don't know, man. Do I seem scaly to you guys? Do you think I have scales? Are we allowed to submit videos? You're allowed to recommend some. I already have quite a list of ones to get through, but I might be able to get to it if not this stream, maybe another stream where I do something similar.
In a land apart.
Suddenly, the dragons on the walls come to life, spiraling around Emmy and Max as they are transported to the magical world of Dragonland. Here, they meet Ord, an easily frightened blue dragon voiced by Ty Olsson, and Cassie, a shy and kind pink dragon voiced by Chantal Strand.
I'm Cassie, and this is my friend Ord.
Hi.
The four introduce themselves, and Ord makes everyone dragon corn by throwing kernels in the air and using his fire breath to cook
dragon
them.
corn.
Ord explains that he and Cassie are looking for his lost tooth, and they are going to ask their
Dragon
friends Zach
corn.
and Wheezy if they've seen it. They offer to fly Max and Emmy around on their backs, and the four go to meet Zach and Wheezy, who are conjoined twin dragons voiced by Jason Mikas and Kathleen Burr, respectively.
Zach, Wheezy, did I leave my tooth in your room?
I don't know.
Let's go look.
Zach is very clean and straight-laced, while Wheezy is messy and spontaneous. The six then visit Quetzal, voiced by Eli Gabai, the dragon's teacher at the school in the sky.
Hola, niños.
You speak Spanish?
Sí, I came from Mexico.
While Ord, Cassie, Zach, and Wheezy are all childlike, Quetzal is more mature and wise, telling the six a story of how the dragon scales work.
Realistic child reaction, to be honest. They're just like, you speak Spanish? I don't know any. I've never heard of anybody speaking Spanish in real life before. I thought that was a language they made up for Dora the Explorer.
As he found Ord's tooth, and Ord uses it to wish that Max and Emmy could come play at any time. Quetzal gives Ord a dragon scale of his own that he can use to communicate with Max and Emmy that he wants them to come play. Quetzal then teaches Max and Emmy another rhyme to get home. Once there, Max and Emmy's parents, yelling from off-screen, ask them how they liked the new house. They both reply that they love it. Each story after this would have a similar format. The kids would start in the playroom, both discussing what they plan to do when they get to Dragonland. They then wish on the scale and are transported back with their friends.
Hey, you better get that scale back.
All of the stories try to teach lessons regarding social situations, with topics such as problem solving, trying new things, and compromise being explored. The producers felt that it was important that the show not pretend to give simple solutions to all of these problems, but to instead show ways to make the situations more manageable. The progress was visualized through the dragon badges worn by the characters. Ord's dragon badge would glow when he faced his fears. Cassie's dragon badge would glow when she felt confident. And Zach and Wheezy's dragon badge would glow when they compromised or worked as a team. Each episode would feature an original song as well.
The moon comes out as the sun goes down. You may start to worry as your heart beats like a drum. So you should
Oh wait, that's a banger. What the fuck? That's a banger.
More dragons would be introduced throughout the show's run, some appearing more than once. New episodes of Dragon Tales would premiere daily, with 20 episodes being released from September 6th to October 22nd. 10 more episodes would air in January of 2000. The remaining 10 would air in April. Dragon Tales was an immediate hit, and the show would be renewed for a second season of 25 episodes.
Nice!
The main difference between Season 1 and Season 2 was the transition from cell animation, in which frames are composited on layers of transparent plastic cells, to digital ink and paint animation, in which the compositing and coloring are done digitally. This resulted in a subtle change, but when compared, the second season's animation has a noticeably cleaner and more vibrant look. The show would also bring along a line of merchandise, including a Game Boy Color game released in December of 2000, books based on the series, musical albums, and a variety of toys.
Which baby dragons will they find inside?
Oh my god.
The second season of Dragon Tales premiered on June 4th, 2001. The first 10 episodes would premiere throughout June. In the 6th episode of the second season, a new dragon student at School in the Sky was introduced, Lorca, a pink dragon with a disability. The creators made sure that Lorca's disability was not the focus of her character, and in most episodes that she appeared, her disability was irrelevant to the plot. Season 2 of Dragon Tales would continue airing in September of 2001, airing the season's 20th episode on September 14th, 2001. The remaining 5 episodes wouldn't air until the next year, picking up the exact same week in September that the show was most likely supposed to air.
Why is that dragon so much bigger than the rest of them?
The year-long hiatus before the final episodes of the season could have possibly been due to the terrorist attacks of September 11th, which occurred the week the Dragon Tales went on hiatus. After the tragedy, many networks pulled programming either due to content concerns or scheduling changes. While the Dragon Tales episodes certainly did not have any imagery relating to the attacks, PBS stations around the country drastically changed their programming schedules.
I'm gonna be real. I'd imagine a lot of the people that are everybody in college now was born. Well, the general demographic in college now was born after 9/11 could have had a really big impact on their lives, or they could have before they could have witnessed how impactful 9/11 was. So this is coming as a bit it's obviously not shocking that all of this change happened after it, but I guess I never really realized the extent to which things were shaken by it. I don't know. It's insane. Like, just imagining airports not being as meticulous and crazy as they currently are to me seems really, really strange. I don't know.
Some running news programming nonstop, while others chose to air PBS kids shows throughout the day, as they scrambled to find consistent programming after the events. It is possible that during this time, it was decided to delay the new Dragon Tales episodes, although this has never been confirmed, and the hiatus could have been coincidental. The final episode of Dragon Tales' second season premiered on October 15th, 2002. Earlier that year, a musical stage show named Dragon Tales Live began touring the United States. The show featured the main cast, with Ord, Cassie, Zack, and Wheezy appearing in full-body costume form, and real children being cast as Emmy and Max.
Oh, I'm getting more flashbacks from this, bros.
On March 2nd, 2003, a musical compilation special named Let's...
I'm getting more flashbacks. Kids in musicals, kids in musicals, kids in musicals, kids in musicals.
Start a Band aired. This mixed in live-action footage with animation and musical numbers from the show. After this, Dragon Tales went on another hiatus.
Definitely wasn't
with no
me.
New
I don't know what
episodes
you're
being
talking about.
produced.
No,
While
it
reruns
wasn't
aired
me.
regularly on PBS, it wouldn't be for another year that fans of the show would finally hear of its status. In August of 2004, news broke that a third season of Dragon Tales would be created, to premiere in 2005. Along with this, it was announced that a new character, the Colombian-born Enrique, a bilingual 6-year-old, would move in next door to Max and Emmy
They were
and
really
follow them
gunning
on their
for that
adventures in
Spanish
Dragonland. This, along with Quetzal having
bilingualism,
an
huh?
increased presence in the plots, was an effort to focus the show more on Hispanic culture.
Ooh.
Hiya, Enrique.
Okay.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
¿Qué
Great.
tal?
How's it going?
Bien, okay, I guess.
The third season of Dragon Tales would air from February 21st, 2005 to April 1st, 2005, with 29 new episodes being created, although many of these episodes contain stories from previous seasons. 32 of the 58 stories in Season 3 were repeats, with only 26 new stories being produced. This brought the total episode count up to 94. Dragon Tales would not be renewed for a fourth season. With over 90 episodes to air in reruns, PBS could air the show for years to come. The final story in the show's final episode was titled A Storybook Ending.
Aww.
Max, Emmy, Enrique, and the dragons listen to one of Quetzal's stories, and everyone is transported inside of it. Quetzal tells them to go find a very special book from the wizard sage. After obtaining the special book, containing all of the stories in Dragonland, the three transport back home. Emmy suggests that they write a book of their own about all of their adventures in Dragonland. But what should they call it?
How about a bunch of cool stuff that happened in the land of dragons and fairies and giants and gnomes and unicorns and more?
Don't trust this guy with your SEO marketing.
That might be too long to fit on the cover. How about Dragon Tales?
Dragon Tales Live will
Yeah,
continue
she
performing
gets
until
it.
the spring of 2006.
She has a marketing
A
degree.
rather irrelevant but interesting Dragon Tales appearance was in the 2006 Adam Sandler comedy Click. Sony, known for their egregious cross-promotion between products, outdid themselves by showing Dragon Tales,
Aw,
a
thank
show
you
that
the
they
14
produced
months,
on a
Uncle
Sony
Jack.
television,
Thank you.
a product that they manufactured, in Click, a film that they made. Reruns of Dragon Tales would continue airing on PBS until late 2010, ending Dragon Tales' 11-year run. Dragon Tales was an incredibly successful show for PBS.
That's
Being
true.
nominated for
Amazon
3 daytime
product
Emmys and
listings are
becoming
pretty
PBS's
crazy and all
number
over
one
the place
preschool
with
program
keywords.
within its first year on the air. The show helped children tackle difficult social situations in a realistic and entertaining way. The show also introduced many children to some of the differences and similarities between Hispanic culture and their own, in a natural and positive fashion. The approach the show had to its conflicts alone was unique and effective, providing its audiences with tools rather than answers. Dragon Tales had a positive impact on a generation of children developing social skills, and the show's colorful setting encouraged children to use their imaginations and take their own trip to Dragonland. After the show ended, Ron returned to touring arts festivals with his dragon paintings. He was constantly recognized for his work on the show,
He was
and
able
the dragons
to
in his
make
art
a
caught
mark
the attention
on
of
the
many
world.
passersby. Despite this, he still sold his art for a small price, enjoying seeing people appreciate his dragons. Dragon Tales had both humble beginnings and humble endings.
That's
And Ron remembers
based.
his time on the show fondly, reminiscing with the children visiting his booth, who were mesmerized at the dragons with which they grew up. Ron's art had a deep emotional impact, possibly illustrated best when a friend of his was nearing the end of his life. On his deathbed, his friend held one of Ron's art pieces, a picture of a dragon holding a child's hand, walking into a sunny valley. Before he passed, he told Ron, quote, I am fading into that picture. He wasn't the only one.
Oh, man. Like, I don't know. We were having that conversation early, on an earlier stream, about how when you grow up, you never really grow out of like the same mindset that you had when you were like, you never feel any different from like when you were 16 or 12 or anything like that. You're still the same person. And I don't know, it's really, it can be really heartwarming, but also really like a little sad to think about like older people still seeing themselves as like 6-year-olds bouncing around. Cause like as much as they want to do that, just bounce around and stuff, they can't, cause their bodies just don't let them anymore, and that really depresses the shit out of me, bros. That really depresses the shit out of me, bros. I just hope I haven't wasted my youth. I don't know. I don't even remember what I did when I was younger. Everything's like blurry. Everything's blurry. No, I don't want to think about this. I don't want to think about this right now. I don't want to think about this. Okay. I think I can fit another one. Lost media. I need a lost media thingy. That one that won't make me want to cry. But it still needs to be lost media. Lost media. Not scary. Not scary. Thank you for hydrating. Lost media, not scary. Lost media, not scary. I want something that makes me cry. I'm in a crying mood. I don't wanna be scared. R/lost media? No. Lost media that is not scary. I'm just Googling it on Bing. Okay, Bing is kind of shitty. Bing is really shitty. Bing is not giving me anything. Fuck Bing. They're giving me... Okay, I typed in lost media that is not scary. And they gave me a bunch of Reddit links that are like, what case of lost media should stay lost? What is the scariest, most disturbing piece of lost media you've ever found? I'm not using Bing on purpose. I just don't have any other options right now because I forgot to download Google on this thing. Oh wait, no I didn't. Just kidding. JK. JK. Just kidding. XD. Teehee. I have Chrome. I had Chrome this whole freaking time. I do have to... I have... It's Google Chrome. Okay, wait. Lost media that is not scary. Come on, Chrome. There we go. See? They instantly gave me some shit. All Things Lost is a great channel. Suggested by Venus is here. Okay, Venus. Alright, Venus. There we go. There we go. Man. I really wanna have more time to watch these kinds of videos. They're fun. Ah! Nope, okay. I already got jump scared. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. We're doing this. It was just a scary image, don't worry. We're gonna be fine. We're cool. You see that? What is happening to Internet Archive? Holy Grail of lost media has been found. The Wicked Witch of Sesame Street. The unreleased, cancelled, and lost albums of Kanye West. Shrek lost media update. What are we thinking? What are we thinking? This one seems pretty interesting. Shrek? I like this one, because it's a little meta. Here, okay. Internet Archive is one option. Recently found, Shrek. 10 pieces of lost media. I like Internet Archive. I think I'll start with that, and then we can go back here. This one seems good. Okay, I'll click that one. Recently found lost media. I think I clicked Breaking Bad games. Shrek. Oh. Let's see. Yeah, I'll do this one first.
Oh, hi there.
I'll do this one first. There we go.
You may have heard about the drama surrounding the Internet Archive over the last few years. They're currently fighting a lawsuit that's been called an existential threat to all libraries, media preservation, and an affront to fair use, while its detractors believe the archive knowingly and blatantly violated copyright law en masse. So what's going on? Well, first we need to talk about the Internet Archive itself. Founded in 1996 by Brewster Kahle, an American computer engineer and entrepreneur, the Internet Archive is an organization advocating for a free, open internet by providing unlimited access to digitized materials through its website, Archive.
Weren't they technically always violating copyright? Like, don't they save everything?
Archive.org and its various sister sites. As of the making of this video, the archive holds a staggering 806 billion archived web pages.
I'm not saying it's
9.8
bad.
million movies, 15 million audio
I appreciate it a lot.
2.5 million TV shows, nearly a million software programs,
Whoa.
9.6 million images, 250,000 concerts, 1.7 million collections, and 38 million print materials.
Whoa.
These print materials are at the heart of the issue, containing over 4 million books that the Internet Archive have personally scanned into ebooks, of which include...
I've always been very fascinated by copyright law, especially because most copyright laws nowadays are just like, they're crazy, and like, people are stretching them to the point that nothing can really be done anymore.
Includes 1.4 million books that are currently protected under United States copyright law. Fans of the channel know the Internet Archive is an invaluable resource for media preservation, and its Wayback Machine that lets users view old websites has been used to research and recover countless pieces of lost media. But as you can probably guess,
Internet Archive for me, sorry for all the pausing, Internet Archive to me, I believe in supporting journalism and whatnot, especially because most journalists are like really crazy, like underpaid as is. But sometimes when my like when I was starting out university and my teachers would always put up paywalled content, and like you'd have to pay for the content, whether it be by like shilling their books or stuff like that. Like, how else was I supposed to get to the reading? Except for like purchasing it off their dodgy website. I would, like, I don't know, like LibGen, man, LibGen.
yes, a site with so much free content available to anyone with an internet connection has proven very controversial, being blocked in India, China, temporarily blocked in Turkey, and accused of hosting terrorist materials. But they are currently facing what I believe is their biggest threat to date. Typically, the archive lends out ebooks through its open library at an own-to-loan ratio, meaning if the Internet Archive owns a physical copy of a book, they scan it to create an ebook and let one person at a time borrow it through their website.
Right.
If they own 2 physical copies of the same book, they could lend out 2 at a time.
God, that
and
saved
so
me
on.
so many
if all
times
copies
while
were
writing
checked out, you
papers.
could join a wait list.
Yeah.
They're applying the same basic principles that libraries use to lend physical books,
I like
with
it.
the added steps of making a digital copy, some extra protections like DRM, digital resource management, that prevent borrowers from making copies of in-copyright
Saved me
works,
so
and
much.
ensuring that the books are returned to the Internet Archive automatically after 14 days. These policies of own-to-loan ratio and DRM make up what's called CDL, Controlled Digital Lending. The IA has been using this system since 2011 to great success, with 70,000 daily borrowers. The practice of CDL has raised legal concerns, but had never been seriously challenged in court. That would change when, in response to the pandemic, the IA announced the National Emergency Library. To address our unprecedented global and immediate need for access to reading and research materials, as of today, March 24th, 2020, the Internet Archive will suspend waitlists for the 1.4 million and growing books in our lending library by creating a national emergency library to serve the nation's displaced learners. This suspension will run until June 30th, 2020, or the end of the U.S. national emergency, whichever is later.
That's big.
Oh, my sweet summer child. Basically, what this meant is that the archive was offering unlimited copies of all of its books, even the ones that were still protected under copyright law due to the national emergency. The NEL was met with near
Supremely
universal
based.
acclaim from the general public. Hundreds of libraries and universities saw it as necessary to streamline education in newly
Monster Girl Encyclopedia? Wait, where? Where? Oh, wait. That could be a really good stream. Do you guys want to read the Monster Girl Encyclopedia together on stream? I think I'm going to do that. I'm adding that to my idea list. I just added it to my list. That sounds fun. Not on Twitch. Why? Oh. I forgot. Anyway.
copies of all of its books, even the ones that were still protected under copyright law due to the national emergency. The NEL was met with near universal acclaim from the general public. Hundreds of libraries and universities saw it as necessary to streamline education in newly created online spaces. But it was abhorrent by authors.
They're just anime titties. Aw, good night, Evil Monkey. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great rest of your day. Also,
and
hi,
their
Captain
publishers.
Clorox.
The Authors Guild explained, IA has no rights whatsoever to these books, much less to give them away indiscriminately without consent from the publisher or author. We are shocked that the Internet Archive would use the COVID-19 epidemic as an excuse to push copyright law further to the edges. And in doing so, harm authors, many of whom are already...
I mean, okay, wait, here's the thing. Supporting independent authors, great. But if you're gonna be pirating books from people like She Who Must Not Be Named, like, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway.
struggling. But even with the general public on the archive side, publishers had bipartisan support in Congress from Senator Tom Tillis and Tom Udall, and even members of the U.S.
I feel like after a certain, I mean, I'm not advocating for any crimes here. I believe in supporting small creators, like, you know, creators that run everything by themselves. But like, billionaire authors, they're not gonna be dinged by Internet Archive. It's not going to affect them at all.
U.S. Copyright Office, all expressing concerns with the NEL. Senator Tom Tillis
Billionaire authors absolutely exist. They absolutely exist.
spoke on the subject. I'm concerned that the Internet Archive thinks that it, not Congress, gets to determine the scope of copyright law.
Let me look him up.
And this all came to a head
Billionaire
on
authors.
June 16th, 2020, when the Internet Archive...
Let's see. Okay. Richest authors of all time. Okay. So we're already starting off from at the bottom with a couple hundred million, okay? Let's see. What? Oh wait, no, that's just because she was married to Bezos. That doesn't count. That doesn't count. JKR, she has $1 billion. She's the billionaire that I'm thinking about. Okay, everybody else is like near $1 billion though. Like 800 million is basically $1 billion. Okay? James Patterson, Jim Davis. Well, Garfield seems cool, so maybe not him. Danielle Steele. Okay, wait, everybody else here seems okay. Anyway, yeah.
Was slapped
Stephen
with a
King is
lawsuit
here.
from 4 of the world's largest book publishers: HarperCollins, Penguin Random House, Hachette Book Group, and Wiley, claiming that the Internet Archive committed willful mass copyright infringement, citing 127 books that they lent out through their open library. The archive responded by ending the NEL, but continued their traditional lending practices. In late 2020, the archive launched the Empowering Libraries campaign, framing the case as an existential threat to all libraries. Now, maybe this is standard in legal documents and I just haven't read enough of them, but in the publisher's complaint, Hachette Book Group Inc. versus Internet Archive, you can just feel the disdain pouring out of the pages. It's like the Internet Archive personally insulted their mother. And not only was this a vicious attack on the archive and its founder, Brewster Kahle, but it was incredibly well written. In the legal complaint,
I don't know, because I think that the democratization of information on the internet has been a really good thing. A lot of these are books that I probably would have found in my local library anyway. But sometimes, you know, like if you're rushing at near midnight to finish a paper and the book that you're assigned to write about wasn't available in the library and it probably would have cost you a lot to buy it on your own, the Internet Archive just makes sure that you can like get your report done on time. You know? I mean, I'm not saying that authors don't deserve to be compensated. Like, they absolutely do, especially because most authors are fucked over. Not everybody's a billionaire author. Like, most people are not doing as well as you'd imagine, but the people that you think are doing well are probably doing even better than you imagine. It's just the nature of things. Obviously, it's not a clear and cut case. I am leaning a bit more in favor of the Internet Archive specifically because of how many times they've saved me, but that's just a personal, like, that's just an appeal to personal anecdote. But, like, I don't know, I'm not gonna feel good, like, taking content from people that, you know, like, worked on their content, like, you know, in earnest, that are, like, just trying to make their art, just trying to get by, like, you know. And that's not to say that people that are employed by corpos are bad people. It's just that a lot of a lot of the argument is centric around titles that are made by or like IPs that are owned by people that won't be affected very greatly from by these initiatives. Like, all the people starting the complaints are people that I couldn't really care less about. But, like, obviously, like, I want authors to be compensated. But, like, if they're, like, making mega stacks, like, it's fine. They'll be fine. They're not gonna be, like, economically devastated by the Internet Archive. I'm also, I don't know, okay? I am commenting on this as somebody who's watching this for the first time, so I don't know. Hi, Miji, welcome in. I'm
aim at the Internet Archive's non-profit status, noting $150 million in revenue, that they required user donations, upwards of $90 for the IA to scan.
Like, sorry, I don't mean to pause so much, but I don't think it's really useful to, like, take a side in this, because, like, it's easy to, like, demonize one side and say, like, yeah, fuck authors, like, make everything free. That's obviously not my side. But I'm also not gonna be like, you know, fuck all these internet archivists ripping creative work and not compensating authors. Like, there's a reason they do what they do, and archiving is a very good practice. I have nothing against it. If any of you save my VODs, for instance, I don't really care. I mean, like, that's actually helped me in some occasions. Like, you know, c'est la vie. My Twitch VODs. There are ways of working around these things. And if there aren't, well, sometimes things are just the way they are.
And books not in their library, their use of cheap overseas labor and volunteers to scan books, and lambasting the fact that when the archive did provide links to legally purchase copies of books, they led to Better World Books, a business owned by the IA's founder, Brewster Kahle. They even implied that when the archive does buy a legal copy of a book, they buy it through Better World Books as a means of profiting from unauthorized copies, stating IA's book sponsorship scheme is breathtakingly brazen. In essence, IA tells users which copyrighted books it wants to infringe, then asks them to pay a donation far in excess of the list price of the book.
I mean, here's the thing. This was never gonna be a victimless, crime. Archiving does require a lot of illegal activity. And, you know, archiving at this scale, it makes sense. They're gonna be doing some shit that I personally wouldn't agree with. Like I said, it's not a completely black and white case. Nothing really is.
IA to go out and buy a print copy from an undisclosed source, possibly Better World Books. Finally, IA uses the user's money to scan the book and put it online, where anyone can get a copy for free, completing the copyright infringement process without spending a single dollar of its own money. They call out the IA for trying to solve educational issues during COVID by depriving authors of sales they need to stay afloat, and at the same time referencing Section 110 of the Copyright Act, the TEACH Act, that accounts for teachers to make copyright exceptions during a health crisis without harming the publishing ecosystem. The document is full of these pointed attacks, but even more impressive is just how ruthless the subtext is. Woven throughout without explicitly saying any of it, the publisher's legal team implies that the Internet Archive is un-American by violating the spirit of copyright intended by the Founding Fathers, that the IA is harming the education system by not paying for...
I've seen that in some of the court proceedings I've read. They'll write all this shit about how something is un-American, and that's the reason why, that's the reason why it's, like, bad, and that's why we should do something about it. Like, that doesn't really mean anything to me as a non-American. Like, okay, it's un-American. So what?
Works that they cause monetary loss to authors from marginalized groups, Nobel Prize winners, and beloved children's authors. Again, without actually saying any of it. If you can't tell, I had a great time reading the complaint. I've always been biased in favor of the Internet Archive, but this document was just so well written and at times almost sassy.
Damn.
It would be hilarious if it didn't point to such unsettling consequences. There are two elements of the complaint in particular that could have devastating long-term effects for libraries and media preservation. The attack of controlled digital lending and an attack on the first sale doctrine when applied to digital media. Basically, the copyright rule that allows you to sell things secondhand, books, CDs, movies, etc. The plaintiffs wrote, IA defends its willful mass infringement by asserting an invented theory called controlled...
Invented theory. Okay, wait. I defends its willful mass infringement by assessing an invented theory called controlled digital lending, CDL, the rules of which have been concocted from whole cloth and continue to get worse. For example, at first, under this theory, IA claimed to limit the number of scanned copies of a title available for free download at any one time to the number of print books of that title in its collection, though no provision under copyright law offers a colorable defense to the systematic copying and distribution of digital book files simply because the actor collects corresponding physical copies. Very sassy, but at the same time, like, the language doesn't actually mean anything other than to, like, be ad hominem against IA. All of this is really just ad hominem against IA. It is an invented theory, therefore it is invalid because they just made it up and it doesn't actually align with... Like, there are two parts to that, right? There's the fact that it's invented. And so, like, because it is invented, by virtue of that, it isn't very valid. But at the same time, if they're saying, like, oh, it's invented and it doesn't align with, copyright laws as they currently stand, like, that's a logical argument you can make. But at the same time, like, like, what does this even mean? Like, they made it up, and at the same time, like, the only part of this that I really agree with being a sound argument would be this part over here, where they're saying, like, though no provision under copyright law offers a colorable defense to the systematic copying and distribution, just because the actor collects corresponding physical copies. I mean, at least they're keeping it to just the physical copies that they own. I mean, that to me just feels intuitively right. Like, they don't allow for mass distributions and mass distributions and downloads and borrowings of the books that they have. They only limit it to the amount that they have. That sounds okay to me. That sounds fine.
Digital lending, the rules of which have been concocted from whole cloth and continue to get worse.
That sounds fine
to me. At first, under this theory, IA claimed to limit the number of scanned copies of a title available for free download at any one time to the number of print books of that title in its collection. Though no provision under copyright law offers a colorable defense to the systematic copying and distribution of digital book files simply because the actor collected corresponding physical copies. Next in their crosshairs was the first sale doctrine. The publisher stated, it permits the owner of a copy to distribute the particular copy that has been lawfully acquired, for example, as in the secondary sale of a hardcover book or painting. But it provides no exemption from the copyright holder's exclusive right to produce a work. Faced with these inconvenient facts...
Exclusive right to reproduce a work. I mean, that's perfectly valid. I guess for me, my main argument in this is, there's obviously a lot of value to archiving content. We've already covered a lot of that. They're going out of their way to archive everything as soon as possible, because something I've noticed about the archiver's mindset is that they like to archive things as soon as it's released or as soon as they can get it, because they never know when it could be gone. So they just want to get it as soon as possible. And sometimes when you want to get something as soon as possible, you don't really have the time to be like, hey, by the way, I'm archiving this. I'm not planning to make any money off this. I'm just archiving this for historical purposes. You can't really approach the publishers with that and expect a timely response just because of some weird bureaucracy shit in the publishing industry and whatnot. But I don't know. It's interesting. It's very interesting. I didn't expect to get into copyright law this stream. I mean, we haven't gotten into any actual laws, but just the language that is being used right now is very, very fascinating to me.
IA has also advanced to the illogical premise that its massive illegal copyright and distribution
Never mind,
is
we have a law right
format
here.
shifting, protected under the fair use doctrine. But the rudimentary use of a scanner to format shift print books into digital works for distribution to the public does not constitute either a permitted personal use or a transformative use.
So they don't think that distributing... They don't believe that what they do, which is scanning and shifting the format of the printed physical books, falls under permitted personal use or transformative use. I'm gonna have to read up more on what transformative use implies, because I don't know. I suppose transformative is more they use the information that they learn from the book to make something original, right? Adding value to it, yeah, and rather than just ripping it straight up and... Yeah, I understand that. Okay. I just wasn't sure how they were defining it here. You have to be very specific with the language that you use in legal documents. The activity squarely intruded upon the exclusive rights under... Okay. No exception of any kind applies. All right.
The action squarely intrudes upon the exclusive rights under Section 17 USC 106, and no exception of any kind applies. So now that we've heard from the publishers, does the Internet Archive have any legal precedent to support their actions concerning the National Emergency Library or their practice of controlled digital lending? There are a few cases that might help us out. The first are the cases of Google Books and Hathi Trust. In these two separate suits, the courts upheld the right to digitize books, protecting Google's mass preservation effort to create a fully searchable text database. But the winning caveat in both cases was that the entire book isn't made freely available for all users.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was
only
going to say
allowing them
that.
to search for keywords and view.
Because when I look up books, when I look up things on Google Books, whenever I'm looking up course material online, Google Books only shows me like page 17 of 852 pages. They're not going to be giving me the whole shit. They're going to link me to like places I can buy it. So Google Books is doing the archiving, but they're also being little bitches and like, you know, not giving me anything that I can use.
Small portions of the overall work. Another notable case that's come up in discussions is Capitol Records LLC versus Redigi Inc. Redigi was an online platform where users could resell digital copies of songs they had legally purchased from places like iTunes. They were sued by Capitol Records in 2012, and Redigi's defense was that they were protected under the first sale doctrine. That if you could sell a physical item secondhand, you could sell digital goods secondhand as well.
That's fascinating to me. What qualifies as a used digital good? I've never heard of like used digital goods, but I guess like in the case of like the VTubing industry, like if I were to like, I wouldn't do this, but hypothetically, if I were to like acquire the rights to sell this model to somebody else, would this technically be a used digital good? And if so, what makes it used? Is it because it was already associated with another, like because it was already like it has already been like this form or this like digital product has already been co-opted and quote unquote popularized by somebody else? Would this be a used digital good? It sounds weird to me. It sounds very weird to me. Like, if I play a song once on iTunes, does that count as a used digital good? Like, that's weird to me.
Redigi would lose this case, with the court's ruling that
Audio
though the
idea?
seller's copy of the song was deleted upon being sold on Redigi, a new copy of the file was made in the sales process. And their reasoning for this was, in their own words, the dictionary defines reproduction to mean to produce again, or to cause existence again, or anew. Just to clarify this, Redigi lost the case based on an overly analytical definition of the word reproduced from just one of many dictionary definitions. These are my personal feelings on the matter, but it sounds to me like the judge didn't think what Redigi was doing should be legal,
Yeah,
so they found a
I can
convoluted
understand
way to
why
make
that would
it
be
illegal. It's even a little bit paradoxical. The ruling almost implies that when a file is sent digitally, it's no longer the same file. It's been produced again, anew. But at the same time, it's...
Actually, yeah. I don't know enough about the software side of things to really say, but like when you send a file, is there like something that like, there has to be something that, is there something that changes it like technically? So like you could point at a certain line of code and be like, yeah, because this is different, it's a different file and it's been used. Like that doesn't seem right to me. I don't know. But it just trying to like really dig into this whole used digital product thing because I'm really curious.
Similar enough for the rights
Files are
holders to
files,
be able to
okay.
sue over its existence. Regardless, the case essentially put to rest the idea of the first sale doctrine in the realm of digital media. In addition to these few cases, Kyle K. Courtney, a lawyer and copyright advisor for Harvard University, penned an article defending the IA, stating that fair use is flexible depending on circumstances, and bringing up the 4 factors of fair use related to
What are
copyrighted
those?
works. 1, the purpose and character of the use. 2, the nature of the copyrighted work. 3, how much of the copyrighted work was used. And 4, the effect of the use upon the potential market for the copyrighted work.
I mean, yeah, this makes sense. They're basically emulating they're emulating a library. They're not trying to sell the product. The only real big like hang up here that I can really glean is the fact that like these people aren't really, profiting from what's going on Internet Archive. Their creative works are being distributed without people having to pay for them or whatever. But libraries basically do the same thing, right? So the thing is, like, okay, an argument you can make against this, I guess, now that I've like collected my thoughts, libraries basically do the same thing. I guess you could say, like, with libraries, like, it's physical, but then the library has already purchased the book from them. But what's the big difference here, really? Is it the fact that, like... But the ability to lend here under CDL is also limited. It's also limited. It's also limited under Internet Archive. That's the whole point of the CDL system, is that they, like... I mean, like... If there are any oversights that happen, like, but their main intention, that, like, if there are any oversights that happen that prevent them from, like, really, like, limiting how many times something is copied, then, okay, that's something that's being exploited by somebody using their services, but that isn't something that they intend. Like, their main intention is to only lend as many copies as they physically have.
Courtney believes that the NLE falls under the first tenet because it was for educational use, and the fourth tenet because there is no market for emergency use during a global crisis. So after years of preparation, the first hearing was held on March 20th, 2023, and it did not last long. On March 24th, 2023, Judge Kodal ruled against the Internet Archive, saying that the National Emergency Library was not fair use and it infringed on the copyright of the publishers.
No.
The judge stated, in March 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic closed libraries nationwide and by IA's estimation, took 650 million print books out of circulation, judging itself uniquely positioned to be able to address the problem quickly and efficiently. Citing the Redigi case, the judge ruled that although Section 109 entitles IA and its partner libraries to resell and lend their lawfully acquired print copies of the works in suit, unauthorized reproduction, which is at the heart of IA's online library, is not protected. The IA's nonprofit status didn't protect them either. Judge Kodal citing a case where a church was successfully sued for posting copyrighted materials to its website. Even though the church didn't gain monetarily, they gained clout by hosting the work and could gain more donations by doing so. The judge also tested the case against the previously mentioned tenets of fair use, heavily favoring the publishers in each category. And it seems that not only did the publisher's legal team do an excellent job, IA's defense seemed to have done a pretty poor job, citing legal precedents that had little to do with the matter at hand. The archive pointed to Doan versus American Book Company, but the judge said, that century-old case merely held that the owner of a school book could reproduce new copies of the book's cover. The Internet Archive lawyers also cited the 1984 case where Sony was sued for manufacturing Betamax machines that allowed customers to record TV. Again, the judge didn't agree that it was related, and used the previously mentioned case of Google Books against them. Unlike Sony, which only sold the machines, IA scans a massive number of copies of books and makes them available to patrons rather than purchasing ebook licenses from the publishers. Although IA has
Wait, sorry. I'm not gonna pause as much because I really want to absorb what they're saying. But could one of you explain Betamax to me? Like, what is it? What is it? No! What is a Betamax compared to VHS? Basically the competing product against VHS. Okay.
The right to lend print books it lawfully acquired. It does not have the right to scan those books and lend
it's
the
how
digital
a beta
copies
becomes an
en
alpha.
masse. To hold otherwise would be to ignore the teachings of the Court of Appeals in Google Books that there would be a strong claim for copyright infringement if Google had distributed digitized copies of complete books.
Okay,
the judge
fine.
continued to dismantle the Internet Archive's argument. IA's fair use defense rests on the notion that lawfully acquiring a copyrighted print book entitles the recipient to make an unauthorized copy and distribute it in place of the print book, so long as it does not simultaneously lend the print book. But no case or legal principle serves that notion. Every authority points the other direction. IA's defense of fair use with respect of the NEL therefore also fails. He continued by warning the archive against using the first sale doctrine in their appeal, citing that its use in digital media has already been decided in the case of Redigi, and that any broader scope of the first sale doctrine should be sought from Congress, not the courts. This is a devastating blow to the Internet Archive and their open library.
Yeah, that's really
but
sad.
What does the verdict mean for the future of archive.org? As far as the Internet Archive goes, I do not believe they're going anywhere. I think they broke copyright law with the best intentions. And even though the publishers are asking the archive to pay for every single copyrighted book that they lent out through the NEL, along with paying the publisher's legal fees, there is precedent that the IA might not have to pay if they can prove that they genuinely believe that their actions were within the realm of fair use.
Okay.
And even if they are forced to pay millions in damages, the lawsuit demonstrated that the IA has plenty of money, and it likely won't be closing its doors due to this lawsuit.
Yeah, nothing is gonna get them down. They're gonna be fine. I feel like they're gonna be fine.
But what worries me is the precedent this case sets for digital lending as a whole, giving more power to publishers to levy against libraries, and possibly sue others for loaning out ebooks. All in all, this is very unsettling, and shows the cracks in the American legal system. The justification for Capitol Records versus Redigi is based on an absurd reading of laws that could not have accounted for future technology, and at times it's even contradictory. This flawed ruling is now being used to make controlled digital lending unlawful, which will likely be used to support additional regulations limiting libraries, preservation, and the scope of future technologies. The Internet Archive has appealed the decision, saying the ruling holds back access to information in the digital age, harming all readers everywhere. Thank you so much for watching. This is a much different video than I usually make, but I felt it was an important topic to cover considering the potential impact it could have on media preservation.
Wow. That was a good episode. That was a really good one. I like that a lot. Oh, brother. To be honest, I think that's a strong one to end the night off on. I had a really good time. I'm gonna look for somebody to raid. That was just a really good one, I think, to end off on.